It's time for Twig This Week at Google. Paris Martineau is here. Jeff Jarvis is back. Yay! We're going to talk about AI today. Lots of AI news, including the new Google Gemini Advanced. Apple AI 18.2 comes out. And OpenAI continues its 12 days of AI with more revelations. We'll also get Cloudflare's 2024 year in review. And then we're all going to help Paris pick a gift for her white elephant party. All of that coming up and a lot more next on Twig.
Podcasts you love
from people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 798, recorded Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. Great for soup. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show where we cover big tech. Not just Google, but all the others as well. Plus a little journalism and some fun stuff thrown in with Paris Martineau from The Information. Hello, Paris. Back home, I see.
Hello. I am.
Yes.
I continue to be at my home where I live.
Yes, where you live, in your home. The
It's
home
true.
where you live. I feel
Not
like
the other's home.
this is a code of some kind that I'm missing. It's good to see you.
Someone's going to burst into my door and, extract me in seconds.
I've been
now that
watching a
they've
lot
heard
of
that.
spy shows on Netflix, and I'm prepared for that at all times. For a while, I was pretty sure every time I crossed an intersection, I was going to get T-boned. I should stop watching so much TV, I think. Probably that's the solution. Jeff Jarvis is back. He's worried about bridges, but he looks like a couch. In order to get the focus proper, he has to look like a couch because his Logitech Brio camera seems to want to focus on the couch exclusively. Hello, Jeff.
he's looking
How was
pretty
San
couch-like.
Francisco? Had you have a
was
good time? Good.
Yeah, I did.
We missed you. It's not the
I
same.
missed
with
you
us.
guys. I was so near yet so far.
Micah filled in, and he does a great job. We love having him on, but this is as much
Jason
your
Howell
shows as
came
anybody's.
down, and Kathy
Oh.
Gillis came down,
Oh.
and lots of Twit fans were there, which is always lovely.
Oh, nice.
Wonderful.
Kathy's going to be on Twitter on Sunday. As a matter
Oh,
of fact.
yay.
Brief
Oh, that's
question.
nice. So you-
where did Jeff used to work?
San Francisco Examiner.
No. Where was he perhaps a professor emeritus at? Can we talk about perhaps the school?
Graduate School
Come
of
on,
Journalism
guys,
at the City
keep
University
us.
of New York. I'm sorry. I didn't
John,
get
we
the
know
hints.
you're a vacation sub here, but come on.
Come on.
Yeah, come
Come
on.
on,
Paris
man.
was watching out for me.
Yes.
He is also soon to be a professor at
I
Montclair
am.
State University. He is
I'm
a
a
professor
fellow at Montclair State, and I'm a visiting professor at Stony Brook.
at SUNY Stony Brook State University of New York. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. So he has many credentials. Of course, he's best known for the lovely Gutenberg parenthesis, for The Web We Weave, for Magazine, all of the books you see behind you. Also, let's not forget What Would Google Do, which got you on this show in the first place. That was his audition to get on the show called This Week in Google.
My Vanna White moment.
You're a good hand model.
Now in paperback.
I learned how to be a hand model on Tech TV. And I used to get a manicure because we'd show off stuff. And I used to get a manicure. It was a $20 manicure, expensive manicure. At one point, I knew Tech TV was in trouble when the CFO said, "Those manicures, do you have to get a $20 manicure?" I said, "What?" He said, "You could go to the Vietnamese ladies. They're $5." I said, "What?" He says, "It's too expensive." I said, "I'll cut my own nails from now on. Thank you very much." That was a bad sign, don't you think?
Rough.
Then they took the oatmeal out of the kitchen, and that was really, then we knew we were in trouble.
That's like a Time Inc. when they got
gotta
rid of
run
the
for
nice
the hill.
wine. Yeah.
You had
I did
wine
something
on
very-
tap at work?
Oh yeah, we had a whole closet filled with. We had wine and beer for the plebes, but if you were a senior editor and above, they stocked your credenza with liquor. Mind you, you had a credenza.
What?
That was the good old days. That's Mad Men quality.
That
That's
was-
Mad
that
Men
was
They
at
level.
stocked your credenza with
Credenza with
liquor
liquors.
is an insane
Plural.
sentence.
Now that was at Plebe People magazine, which they wanted to ignore, even though we made all the money. At Time, they had a valet who would go around with a cart, libations. I
I'm
had a
going to
friend
guess.
had people who used to go into Bloomingdale's, and he'd look at a couch and he'd say, "That's 18 fake lunches."
Wow. Yeah, we had Ziff Davis. They had a guy. They told me early on when you're filing expense reports. He said the line was hide the boots. The guy expensed a very expensive pair of Texas snakeskin boots, and he put it under client service or something like that, right? And they informed me that the best thing to do is to hide the boots from now on.
My
That would
other
make
favorite people trick was that two guys were in concert, and if one was going to be late, which he was always, he would have his friend go into his office, put some paper in the typewriter. We used to have these things called typewriters, Paris, and just put a hot cup of steaming coffee next to it.
So it looks like they just stepped out.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a cigarette. Just put a cigarette butt there.
In those
smoking.
days, we could.
Start a small fire in the waste bin.
Yeah, yeah.
So this was we should really be getting down to it because this is a busy day. The news just keeps on giving. Apple and Google both pushed out updates to their AI. Google's probably the more interesting of the two. They pushed out earlier this week their new video model. What is that called? View? That's because OpenAI made Sora available. So now Google said,
So OpenAI has the 12 days of ship mess.
right. Not
They're
View,
shipping
but
something every day.
VO. But this is a private preview. I can't get into either VO or Sora, so I guess I'm not good enough. They're pretty awful. They're pretty awful. That's all I can say. I mean, there's sometimes good.
Leo,
what you'll see is the good
Leo,
stuff.
They're
Yeah.
going to, no, Leo, it's going to fool everyone. We won't know what's true yet. I didn't put it in the rundown. The Guardian had one of
They're
those
going
stories.
to change the world.
Yes, we won't know what reality is, Leo.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just do a search for Sora and gymnastics.
I literally was typing that into Twitter as you spoke.
It is some of the weirdest stuff I have ever experienced.
I mean, it's kind of compelling in a way.
This is
what they did
why
before.
you don't want an AI to generate.
We saw this before, I could swear, the old Sora.
I think we did, but this
didn't
is the
fix
new
it.
Sora.
Oh my Lord.
It's better. Well, remember the old one, she had 30 legs. Now she's just bending in unusual ways and floating, apparently.
I saw somebody did it and they wanted to say, show me writing the column. And because it has no sense of reality, it had a keyboard and it had fingers, but the fingers were to the right of the keyboard, not anywhere near the keys.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say they were etching something into a column.
I don't really, writing on a column. I don't really want to get in the position of saying, oh, you see, AI sucks. Because honestly, it keeps getting better and better in many interesting and I think useful
It's just
ways.
not AGI. It's if we just didn't have that as this ridiculous supposed goal, and we said, hey, it's got a new trick, cool, we'd say.
Right.
Yeah,
You just say
I
it's
think
cool.
if we're evaluating this on a just as a technology that exists, cool, really
Yeah.
interesting stuff that's happening, has made great leaps and bounds over the last couple of years, but it's because the people who lead these companies and the proponents of this technology herald it as the most world-changing thing ever that is going to replace all jobs within within 5 to 10 years and completely remake reality, then they're setting themselves up and their customers up for disappointment.
Yeah.
Here was my
And
complaint.
yet, I mean, I can now talk to. So one of the things I think that's going to be fairly important is Google has attached Gemini Advanced to search. So now I can ask it questions that are tied to current. Well, for instance, can you tell me the latest news from Syria? And I guess it can read it to me. Let me see if it'll do that. Well, maybe not. Can you tell me the latest news from Syria?
The latest news out of Syria is that the Syrian government has recently collapsed. The opposition, led by a group called Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, took control
Nicely
of the whole
pronounced.
country after a really fast offensive.
Oh, really fast. It was really fast. it goes on.
speedy.
There's actually some pretty good stuff in here, and that's because and it's current. The point is that it's current. If I ask ChatGPT the same question, I'll do it for you right now. Hold on. What's the latest news from Syria?
I don't have access to real-time news updates or current events. My
Yeah.
information goes up until October 2023.
October 2023. So it would obviously not know anything. It would say
Do you
Bashar
pay for
al-Assad is still.
ChatGPT? Do you pay for OpenAI?
Both of those I pay for, not the $200 a month.
Right. That's new.
ChatGPT. I have the
You can't even
$20
get
a month.
Sora even though you pay for.
I don't think it's in there.
Because I
I
thought
think
it was available
eventually-
for paid customers.
Yeah, they said they're rolling it out. So last time I checked, I could check here on the computer so you could see it. Last time I checked, by the way, now you can go to chat.com. They spend a huge amount of money to get chat. Let's see, analyze images, code, summarize text, more models. No, I can get all those models, but I don't think I can analyze images. I can make a plan. I can
That'd be
create
a
images,
first.
but I don't think I have video unless I'm not seeing it. Let me view the tools here. Picture, Dolly, Canvas, no. But some people do. I think it's rolling out is the idea, right?
Yeah.
I have to say, the video is, maybe that's in the parlor trick category. There's still incredibly useful stuff. Here's one. Google says that they now have used DeepMind to create weather forecasts, 15-day weather forecasts that are better than the best predictions, which is great and very important if you're a farmer or to predict hurricanes and so forth.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
This is a good use
of AI. Because weather is a chaotic environment, very hard to predict because there's so many variables.
As I was just reading a friend's book proposal, multidimensional.
Right.
It can deal on a number of factors that we just can't get our little heads around.
Yeah. This is a big step forward. And I can go on and on. There was a study of women who got mammograms, and the women who paid extra to have the mammogram analyzed by AI had a 20% better cancer discovery rate. That just came out.
Wait. They had to pay extra.
Well,
however, it's just like
welcome
it's
to
just
America.
Like it's the bank tellers, right?
Yeah.
We're going to get rid of tellers and force you to use these machines, and then we're going to charge you for the machines.
Yeah, well, that's right now anyway. But yeah, I mean, that is an excellent point. They did pay extra, but when they paid extra, they got 20% better results. In other words, the AI did make a difference. Mm-hmm. There's lots of these. I can go on and on. They did. There was a recent study of scientists who used AI to create new materials in the labs, and the scientists who used the AI had, I think it was like 50% better results than those who didn't. So more and more, we're seeing AI be used. Not AGI, not RoboCop, not HAL 9000, but we're seeing AI used in very useful and interesting ways. And this is in just a few years. I think we can mock Sora today. We may regret it tomorrow.
Leo, I want you to take off your shoes right now and show us whether there's any sand in the socks.
Yeah, let me know what's in there.
They're referring to this many months ago watch on the beach I took with somebody who works in the business, who did say, we're going to have a very interesting 10 years. I don't think that's wrong. And he did compare it to an alien intelligence. He said, you can't judge AI intelligence against human intelligence. It's like a new species. It's like a new, and that's maybe a little woo-woo, but I think it's not so far off. So Pixels have added new AI features. I mean, everywhere you're seeing this. And Apple now I have to say, Apple is way behind. Apple just added something they call the image generator.
Well, they just added ChatGPT to the next version of the OS.
They also added ChatGPT, and actually, interestingly, well, here's an interesting thing. I can take a picture of something. Let me hold down the camera thing, and then you'll see that two things have popped up: ask and search. So if I take a picture of something and search, the funny thing is the search does not use Apple Intelligence. Did you just see what it said? It said searching with Google. and the
that's
ask.
interesting.
The ask, and I showed this to Paul Thurrott, and he said, well, maybe it's because that's your search engine. So I changed the search engine to Bing, the default search engine on it. It's still searched with Google. The ask searches with ChatGPT. Now you can't see it, but
and is this just on the new phones, or? Oh wait, no, it's got it on my phone too.
yeah. This is 18.2, which just came out today. By the way, I guess it was taking a picture of the mouse. 18.2 is the latest because it says a wireless computer mouse often used for its portability and convenience connects to Bluetooth. This particular model appears to have ergonomic features designed for comfort. What it didn't do is say what model it is. Let me take the same picture with Google search, see if it can figure out.
Put it through Google Lens?
I don't know if it's using Lens or not. So it did. It identified as the Logitech MX Anywhere. That's correct.
That looks like Google Lens's shopping results. I know that because I use Google Lens all the time for identifying good furniture I see out in the world, specifically. And this actually would be super useful for me because then I don't have to open.
Can you
Google
ask
app.
it?
I'm curious as to what the permissions are then.
Can you ask it how many business lunches it costs?
I will do that next time. I'm curious as to what the permissions are because I very privacy centric, I think, as we all are. And so I like the feature that Apple has introduced sometime in the most recent couple of OS updates, where you can be a lot more selective with what apps you're giving full access to your photo library. I have it set to where...
What Apple said when they announced this, and I did not see any permissions, by the way, but maybe I went through them too fast. But what they said when they announced it is that they asked Google, but they don't give Google any information about you.
That's good. So it just gives Google that photo that you
Google thinks Apple is asking all these
exactly. It's a privatized search. Same thing with ChatGPT.
I love that then.
Yeah. I wish you could do something besides Google.
Lens's product is phenomenal. I mean, are there other Lens-like products out there that you think are comparable or better for that specific task of searching products?
Interesting you should ask, because Microsoft just announced a similar product for Microsoft's Copilot AI. They call it, what do they call it? Copilot Vision? Same idea. Everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a useful way to search, but Google's had image search forever, right? That's not that.
Yeah. I just feel like it's gotten really good in the last couple of years in a way that I've just found very delightful.
I agree. Well, the fact that it knew exactly what the mouse was, and by the way, the search results included a link to Amazon. So
interesting.
That's interesting. We are so today is a big day. And yeah, OpenAI is doing the 12 days of AI.
They also put up, what's it called? Canvas.
For drawing?
It's editing. OpenAI makes Canvas its editing tool available to everyone. So today they announced the Apple deal. Yesterday I think was Sora. Yesterday was Canvas. Day before that was Sora.
Yeah, today is ChatGPT and Apple Intelligence, which we just were looking at. So OpenAI does a little video for each of this advent calendar. There's Sam Altman in his ugly Christmas sweater. There's the Canvas that you mentioned. That was yesterday.
What is Canvas?
Well, let's watch the replay, shall we?
Yes.
I don't know. Here we go.
Just to make it a little bit easier to see in context what's changing.
We know a lot of people also use it for programming, and we've made some really exciting improvements to programming in Canvas as well.
Let's check it out.
That's interesting.
So I've also been helping Santa with some logistics.
This is the other thing that's really breaking through now is the use of coding, AI to do coding. Better and better and better. Steve Gibson yesterday was talking about this on Security Now. He was shocked that he could have a conversation with ChatGPT about Intel x86 assembly language.
Jeez.
And it helped write. It didn't get it right at first. Steve was impressed because he said, "No, that's wrong." And it came back and said, "Oh, you're right. It's wrong. Here's a better answer."
Leo, what's the programming challenge you do this time of year?
It's the advent of code, and in fact,
could you have used?
Well, here's an interesting story. There is a real controversy going on in advent of code. People are saying we got to start banning people because if you look at the leaderboard, people are solving this stuff Way too fast. This guy solved it in 9 seconds. The next, and these are the best, by the way. These are competitive programmers who do it in minutes. But the next best was a minute. He had later admitted, "Oh yeah, I had AI write it." But if you go back there, and as you go through the days, this is starting to even out a little bit. But I think more and more, the top results, people are getting a little suspicious, are generated by, like, there you go, 49 seconds, 50 seconds. And this was for day 7, which
does it get harder as you go?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they get harder. So there's been a little controversy about and you know what? This is not unusual.
I wonder if they'll take a NaNoWriMo approach where they say, yeah, go for it, use AI.
Look at that, 38 seconds, an anonymous user, yesterday's problem.
Then 42, 54, and 57.
Yeah, well, you know what? So maybe it's not, I don't know, it seems awfully fast. You want to see what the day 10 problem was? You want to just see?
Like, how long will it take you even to read that? Probably more.
Yeah.
Look at all this
Believe me, it takes me an hour just to understand the question.
This is,
yeah, no.
All those 1 minuters are all AI. All of them.
Well, some of them. Okay, so it's not immediately obvious because there are people who do competitive coding. They have lots of tools.
Paris is right.
I'm
couldn't
curious,
read this.
Do they have historic data? Can we go back 5 years or something?
Yeah.
And see
how
go back 5 years.
See
and
the leaderboards
what
from previous years.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting question. Yeah, let's see.
That's a reporter figuring out how to do
See,
that.
she's smart.
Well,
Let's go back to one of the early years, like 2018, where there certainly was no, nobody was using AI at this point. So here's 2018, day 1, a minute 48.
Oh, okay. Well,
222. But these are competitive coders. This is all reasonable. You get to remember what was it, day 10?
Go to day 7.
Day 7. So it's 9 minutes was the very, very fastest guy.
Starts to get, higher up there.
53 seconds is a little
how long
bit.
You were, Leo?
Sorry?
Are you going to tell us how long you are on average?
Oh, yeah. I actually streamed them live for the first 5 days. I'm not in the ballpark.
No.
I'm not. 2 hours for the first 4 or 5 days. We're roughly 2 hours each.
Well, you got to talk to the chat. So.
Well, I'm explaining what I'm doing. I'm talking to the chat. I'm making mistakes. I'm going,
Excuses.
Looking stuff up. I'm asking AI, and this is how the hell do you solve
Get a
this?
podcaster's handicap.
Yeah, I had a podcaster's handicap. Thank you. By the way, good name for this show. So let me go to chat. So Canvas sounds like it's more than just what I would have thought drawing, right? Few tools. Here it is, Canvas.
No, it's more of a writing.
Collaborate on writing and code. I see. So what are you working on right now, Paris? Write me a lead for a story.
Write me a lead.
Isn't that right? Did I do that right?
No, you need an extra E.
Oh, LEDE.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the technical term for a story about what? A homeless man who turns out to be Santa Claus.
Yeah. Love that.
Right? Now, this is an opportunity to write a very provocative lead, right? You could do something really good with it. Let's see what ChatGPT does with it. Homeless Santa story. In the shadow of the bustling... Wait a minute. Go away. I don't want help. Oh, got it. Go away. In the shadow of the bustling city, where snowflakes melted into cracked sidewalks, and the hum of Christmas cheer dimmed under the weight of hardship, a homeless man named...
How does Christmas cheer hum and dim?
How does the hum of Christmas cheer get dimmed, and how does it get dimmed under hardship? I want
under the weight of hardship. That's a triple metaphor. That is a very difficult achievement in gymnastics. Anyway, a homeless man named Ben sat hunched in his tattered coat. His wiry beard, streaked with white, caught the soft glow of a street lamp, and his eyes held a peculiar twinkle.
Oh,
Jeff, does your beard catch the glow of a street lamp?
Oh yes.
No, I guess it couldn't
it glows.
unless it was.
It glows.
Yeah. To most, he was just
A
another
soft
lost
glow,
soul,
though,
but when a group of
Paris.
curious children stumbled upon him on Christmas Eve, the impossible truth. See, this isn't a news story. This is like a story. Right? Oh, he was Santa Claus, and this year he needed their help to save Christmas.
And that's when the sleigh bells come in.
Okay, tell it to keep going. What's next? I want to know what's next now.
Well, no, I
Let me
want
kids
you to
help
write
me.
something. And that's when the sleigh bells.
The Google changelog.
Write the nut graph of the story. Please tell it.
Okay, good. Let's get another prompt. Okay, now write the nut graph. Do you think it'll even know?
Oh, it sure might.
GRAF, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be about hazelnuts.
Sweets next. Nut graph, for anyone who doesn't know, is kind of like the core graph, the top of your story
It's the only
that
thing you need to
summarizes
read.
what it's going to be about. Basically.
The nut graph has been added, tying the story together and setting up the stakes. Right? Despite his mystical identity, Ben had been stranded in the city for reasons he couldn't fully explain. His sleigh had vanished. His reindeer were nowhere to be found. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to play that song. And his magic, I pressed the wrong button. His magic seemed to falter in the cold urban sprawl. As the children listened to his tale, a mix of disbelief and wonder, they realized they might be the only ones who could help him bring back the joy of the season.
Okay, well, how do they do it? How do the children do it?
So, how did they do it?
Well, see if it gets those.
You have to hit enter.
antecedents.
What kind of graph is that? The how did they do it graph?
That's the kind of the nut graph, honestly.
Yeah, actually, the nut graph is not tying the story together and setting up the stakes. It is solving the problem, right? Or no?
It is kind of like a little mini. Basically, what Jeff said is right. If you read the nut graph, you could kind of get the gist of the whole story.
The gist
all
of
at
it.
Once.
The children sprang into action. They pulled together what little resources they could find. An old wagon to serve as a makeshift sleigh, flashlights as stand-ins for Rudolph's glowing nose, and even their family dog to pull the contraption through the snowy streets. Guided by Ben's fading magic and their unwavering belief, the group scoured the city for clues. Along the way, they enlisted the help of a kind stranger, blah, 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 blah. Midnight approached. Their efforts culminated in a heartwarming scene at the city's Central Park. Ben's magic was reignited by the children's faith and the generosity of the strangers. He transformed the humble wagon into a radiant
Okay, that's
sleigh.
okay. That's not bad. That's
All right.
The family dog pranced with the grace of a reindeer, and Ben, now fully Santa once more, soared into the starry sky. I feel like I'm drunk. I don't know why I'm having a trouble. Soared into the starry sky to deliver gifts across the world. The children watched in awe, their hearts full, knowing they had made Christmas possible, not just for themselves,
Oh, I got
but
goosebumps.
for everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's O. Henry. Should I ask him to write
beautiful
a
tale.
story about a comb and a
It's O. Henry.
O. Henry? So that wasn't bad. That's Canvas.
Oh, in the end, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so here's the thing. I think when it comes to things like writing and art and music, it's very generic. It's very mediocre. That's not where I don't, they focus on that because it's kind of wow. That's got a high wow factor. But in the long run, you see enough of it, you go, yeah, not so wow. But finding breast cancers or creating new materials or predicting weather better, those are really genuinely useful things. And I don't think they're mediocre.
No, I think they're incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Speaking of things with the wow factor, did you guys, I want you to try and explain this to me because I don't fully get it. Google this week said that its new quantum chip indicates that multiple universes exist.
Oh, got to talk about that.
This is a big one.
This is a big one.
So this is about Willow. It's like latest, greatest quantum computing chip. It has made huge leaps in speed and reliability performance. This is I'll read a passage from their Google's announcement. This is from Google's quantum AI founder. It says, Willow's performance on this benchmark is astounding. It performed a computation in under 5 minutes that would take one of today's fastest supercomputers 125 or 10 septillion years. If you want to write it out, it's a very long number. This mind-boggling number exceeds known timescales in physics and vastly exceeds the age of the universe. It lends credence to the notion that quantum computation occurs in many parallel universes, in line with the idea that we live in a multiverse.
Whoa!
What?
Whoa!
I don't know what this means, but I know I've seen a lot of posts on X that say it's really big.
Here's what fascinates me about this, and we've talked about this before on the show, is as I understand it, I mean, quantum computing, and this is part of their advance here, is the error rate, is that not unlike generative AI, we're in an age of approximated computing. Rather than, here's the problem and here's the exact answer. It's close enough. It goes at such breakneck speed. Its odds of being near to truth or right and so on. And I find that fascinating because we were raised in this culture of exact computing, and this is an age now of approximate computing. And how do you get close enough given the scale? So as I understand what Google really advanced here was that they constantly reduced the errors, and that was the big deal. No?
There were several announcements, and yes, that was one of the announcements, is that they were able to get a stable qubit. But the one that Paris was just talking about is also, it's kind of related, but it's at the same time announcement, but a different one, which is that they did a very, very difficult computation that would, on a normal classical computer, take 10 to the 25th years, and they were able to do it in 5 minutes. Now, we're not experts in this, and maybe we need an expert physicist to explain this. I know I shouldn't base it on what some guy on X who says he's building a graduate school of blockchain engineering says.
Well, he's building one. He's not in it. He's building.
I don't even know. I don't even know who this guy is, but he's got a very elaborate explanation. He's answering the question I have, which is, well, what was the computation? What is it that they figured out?
Standard computation, yeah.
Yeah, but what? It's a matrix multiplication, I guess.
Here's a summary from my colleague Anissa Gardinzi.
Oh, Google, good. Is this on the information?
It's
okay. Let's go there. That's a better source.
Google announces new quantum chip. It's a briefing that she did 2 days ago. She said Google said a recent breakthrough, which it published in the journal Nature, involved making quantum bits or qubits less prone to errors. When more of them are qubits, when more of them are added to a computing system, the performance of a system doesn't worsen, the company said. Google said that it performed a study that showed that its predecessor, Willow, could produce below threshold quantum calculations, meaning its accuracy increased as the system scaled.
That's key. That's the key. That was the big discovery.
Yes.
As they made it bigger, they got fewer errors, not more.
So that, I mean, honestly, that could end up being, we might look back and say, wow, that was a big breakthrough. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I don't understand how that means that multiverses are.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch.
But
I don't know.
Okay, well, ask Google. Use Gemini to explain.
Okay. Gemini? Who should I have many choices.
I think Gemini.
I won't ask Apple's image generator. That's probably not the one to ask. You were going to say ask Gemini.
Paris, how would you phrase the question based on what you just read? Explain how.
I would.
Could I just say explain the latest Google quantum computing breakthrough?
We're going to be.
I don't think it has up-to-date information, right?
No, that's the point. This one does.
This one does.
Oh, okay. I would send it the paragraph from the Quantum AI Founders blog post, or send it the link and be like, explain what this has to do with multiverse theory.
Good.
Can you explain what Google's latest quantum computing breakthrough has to do with multiverse theory? I'm going to ask that just because I don't have access to the article. Can you explain what Google's latest quantum computing breakthrough has to do with multiverse theory?
Google's latest quantum computing breakthrough is a big deal. but it doesn't have a direct connection to the multiverse theory. It's more about building powerful new computers. With this breakthrough, Google's created a quantum chip called Willow that can solve problems way too complex for regular computers. This could revolutionize fields like medicine,
So you don't need
material
us.
science.
Oh, I interrupted him.
Okay, now, wait.
That was
now
impressive.
But Google's own article says.
Well, let me see. Where is that article?
I typed it into, I put the article link into Gemini and said, what does this have to do with the multiverse? And it just parroted the line from the article, which doesn't really explain it.
Doesn't explain it.
No.
Well, back to Jeffrey Schultz, who's building a graduate school of blockchain engineering.
Yeah.
Not an undergrad, a graduate school.
I don't know. I shouldn't get answers from X. I think we know that much anyway. Could be interesting. This is not the place. Go find a physics podcast where they can explain this.
He did. He's ex-Yahoo. That's all you need to know. Who built out the video machine learning department from scratch, leading to tens of millions of dollars in incremental revenue. That's Jeffrey.
Oh, well, he got incremental revenue right.
Yep.
So apparently you need to select Gemini Flash 2.0 experimental from the drop-down, but I don't have a drop-down. Do you have a drop-down? All I have is the regular.
Okay, hold on. I'll ask.
So I'm just looking at the iOS app. I don't know.
Oh, Gemini. No, no, it only goes to 1.5. This is 2.0.
Yeah, we're all waiting to get this update. Anyway,
okay,
it's
the
very
experimental one says this. It says, this article is about Google's new quantum chip, Willow. Quantum computers are based on quantum mechanics, which is a theory that also underpins the concept of the multiverse. However, this article does not explicitly mention multiverses, which is incorrect. But, you tried. You tried.
Okay. I think that's just an article writer just trying to get some attention. I don't think we have proof of a multiverse. If we do, I'll let you know. Okay, I'll be looking.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I think we should take a break and come back because I just want to get an update on the Tuah cryptocurrency.
After I understand Paris gave you the birds and bees talk last week?
Yeah, she explained it to me. Now I know, but...
I explained what that thing is.
That thing?
No one is better for it.
Our show today, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by our friends. You know them at ACI Learning. You say, oh, do we know them? Yes, you do, because we've been talking about their video arm for a long time. IT Pro. Remember? Binge-worthy, video on demand, IT and cybersecurity training. IT Pro is the best. We know because so many of our audience members have taken courses at IT Pro, have become IT experts, have brought their teams to IT Pro to get more, upskilled, to get better at what they do. It is an amazing place. With IT Pro, you get certification ready with access to their full video library. Did I say place? Well, it's online, so you could actually do it from your home. More than 7,250 hours of training. And this is current training. They're always producing new content. 7 studios running Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, to make sure that you have the latest test questions, the latest certs, the latest versions of the software. That's not all. Premium training plans also include practice tests, so you could take the exam before you take the exam to make sure you're ready before you pay for those exams. And, I have to tell you, my experience has been those practice exams give you the confidence so that when you're ready to take the exam, you know it. When you go into that exam room, you are set. You are ready. You feel good, and you do better. They also have virtual labs, so you can actually get hands-on learning even if you don't have a Windows machine, right in your browser. Set up a Windows server, Windows clients. MSPs love this, too, because it's a great way to test configurations before you launch them on the client's networks. IT Pro. It's from ACI Learning, and they sure make training fun. All the videos are produced by real experts in the field who have a passion for the subject matter. And that passion it communicates. It makes it very engaging. You become passionate as a result. They do it in a talk show format. You can chat along if you want, just as you do with our shows. They call it edutaining. I call it pretty darn good. Take your IT or cyber career to the next level. Be bold. Train smart with ACI learning. Visit info.acilearning.com/twit. If you use the code TWIT100 at checkout, you'll save 30% on your first year of IT Pro annual training plans. That's a great savings. info.acilearning.com/twit. Don't forget the offer code TWIT100. TWIT100. And we thank them so much for their support of This Week in Google. Google is suing, this is an interesting story, a federal regulator over supervision of its payment division. The consumer, this is the one more shot at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB.
They're doomed anyway.
Well, they probably are. I think that's one of the first things to go on January 20th. Google's suing the CFPB. This comes from Reuters. After the agency ordered supervision of Google payment. Now, the whole point of the CFPB is to protect consumers against financial fraud, against predacious companies charging too much. They say that Google's payment services carry risks for consumers, such as possible fraud and mistaken transactions. The funny thing is Google shut down Google Pay earlier this year, so...
Well, they didn't they just change the name?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. Did they shut it down or they changed the name? The agency said they've gotten 300 consumer complaints, reports of fraud, scams, and unauthorized transactions. It said it did constitute a finding that the company had engaged in wrongdoing. The CFPB order nevertheless said consumer complaints indicated that Google Payment had failed to investigate complaints about erroneous transfers. And that's why the law allowed for supervision, even if Google has discontinued the services in question. Okay. The company said, well, Your Honor, as a matter of common sense, a product that no longer exists is incapable of posing such a risk.
If the customer is ripped off in the forest, there's no one there to lose.
Yeah. So Google might have a case here. I have a feeling a court might be somewhat sympathetic to
They're
that.
trying to kind of
especially
smash in
nowadays.
everything they can at the last minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're not doing it anymore, but if you were, we would sure have something to say about it. Okay. Fine. What else? Tuah. So, since we talked last, I hope we didn't encourage people to go out and buy that meme coin. Since we talked last, the meme coin went from a value of a market cap of $490 million.
Jesus.
A lot of people bought it. It was launched December 4th at 10 p.m., quickly rose to a peak market of $490 million. The price then plummeted, trading at a valuation of $41.7 million, 91% down in 3 hours. There's
Is this what you call a pump and dump? And we're not going to
sure looks like it. Tuah,
No
Haley
jokes
Welch says, I didn't make any money on it. I wasn't, nobody I know was involved. Team hasn't sold one token. Not one. And not one of our members was given a free token. So she said it was snipers that did it. Of course, somebody pointed out when we talked about this on Sunday that she did get the gas fees. She probably made millions.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that slide of Hawkonomics.
Yeah.
Hawkonomics, baby. Get to know your Hawkonomics. This is from Haley Welch's X. What is it? X. What do we call it now? X Twitter post. Where the money went. Seems like what all these people say is, well, let me tell you where the money went. Some people were sniping, apparently. One wallet managed to snipe Hawk seconds after launch. So they bought it at the launch price. They bought 17.5% of it. $1 million worth. And then over the next 1.5 hours, it sold 135 million Hawk tokens for a profit of 1.3 million. This is what you have to do these days, right?
If you
gotta
can do it, hey.
Arbitrage. He had almost $1 million in Solana, which is another coin. He had something called wrapped Solana.
Christ.
It's crazy out there, man.
Wow.
And yet, with Bitcoin hitting $100,000, I think a lot of people are saying, I should be investing in this, right?
No, everybody. No, don't.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. Don't consult a financial advisor.
Yeah, but well, some of them are going to say yes.
Decisions.
Some of it. The problem is you look at it's very speculative, right? But you look at the amount of money some people have made, you go, well, geez, that's pretty good. I wonder if I could make that kind of money. Right now, it's at $101,472. It's underneath that This Week in Google logo. We don't want you to actually see it.
I think that any person thinking about investing in a meme coin should think long and hard.
Well, this isn't a meme coin. This is Bitcoin.
Oh, no, we're talking about Bitcoin. Sorry. Never.
Yeah, don't invest in meme coins, although Doge is doing pretty good right now.
Well, but
Leo,
stop.
Low. I am, you know me, I hate all this stuff. I think it's burning the ecosystem to the ground, just as AI is.
But Leo, if you went to Bitcoin U, maybe you'd
I should be a graduate student at Bitcoin U.
Yeah.
have I spoken to you guys about my obsession with Bed Bath & Beyond stockholders before?
I think you mentioned it, but fill us in.
I think you mentioned
These
it. What's the
are
latest?
people who bought into Bed Bath & Beyond when it was a meme stock. As you know, Bed Bath & Beyond has since gone bankrupt, and the assets have been sold to other people. There is this group of people, I'd say at least like hundreds, could be in the thousands, of people who still believe that they have Bed Bath & Beyond stock, and that their Bed Bath & Beyond stock, which again, canceled, is going to be the most valuable stock in the world.
Diamond
once
hands.
Ryan Cohen, CEO of GameStop, buys Bed Bath & Beyond, combines it with GameStop and a bunch of other super stonks, and turns it into the most profitable company the world has ever seen, while also sticking it to big hedge funds.
That's
and
basically...
I'm fascinated by
That's like QAnon. I mean, it's like...
it is basically QAnon.
Yeah, it's fantasy. And the aliens
They
are
have a
gonna come
whole
down and save us.
subplot where they analyze Ryan Cohen, again, the GameStop CEO's line of children's books that he's released, because they have
the clues.
They're
on there.
They have clues in them.
Yeah, do
that
your
only
own
they
research.
can
Yeah.
figure
So
out.
when I was a Sunday editor of the New York Daily News, we tried to save money. Did I ever tell this story before? They tried to get rid of comics. You always got rid of comics. And then old ladies would call and say, "How dare you get rid of Beetle Bailey and all that?"
I need my Dagwood.
Right. And Beetle Bailey served this country.
Oh my God. Where's BC?
So there was this racist,
I
really
love that.
racist.
Beetle Bailey served this country. That was very good. It took me a little while. Thank you.
So in the sports section in the Daily News, which was a sports newspaper, we ran this racist Chinese like fortune thing with a Chinese caricature in the worst ways, right? And there were 100 reasons to get rid of this because it was racist. We got rid of it. It turns out that it was used by all the numbers people for their bets, right?
Of course.
How many hairs on Mr. Chong's head?
It was a giveaway, yes.
Right. And so we couldn't get rid of it. No. We had to keep running it.
Here's the latest Beetle Bailey, by the way. Apparently, it's still being published. In fact, you know what? Beetle Bailey is in the 21st century.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How about Dagwood?
Beetle Bailey definitely believes in QAnon. Beetle Bailey has said, "Where we go one, we go all." For confirmed.
Dagwood Bumpstead. I was talking about my son Henry a while ago, and I said he makes his sandwiches are like Dagwoods, and nobody in the audience had any idea what I was
Paris
talking
is
about.
Staring at you blankly right now. Yes.
Here is a picture of Dagwood Bumstead and his sandwiches.
Oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, I know him.
I know those sandwiches.
Boy, that
Big
is
fan of those.
That is a really old-fashioned looking cartoon. Look at his
You don't see people with hair like that anymore.
No. I would like to get I think you have to use shoe polish to get your hair like that.
Your hair is kind of parted in a similar way.
Yeah, it is today. Yeah, it is actually.
Today you've got,
need this. I just
yeah,
need
it
this.
is.
You need that.
Yeah. Nancy. Nancy is the most unfunny comic ever done.
No, Family Circus.
Oh yeah, Family Circus. Rough. I know that one.
But you're right. Nancy never really had a punchline.
Nancy does not. No.
No. Family Circus at least tried to have a punchline.
By the way, Paris is policing the socials and catching me.
Oh yeah, is he?
It was just.
Is he?
I was
Xing again?
scrolling through Bluesky because there's no problem with me doing that, and I saw a post from Jeff like 20 seconds ago. While you
And
guys
she
were
said,
in the middle
"I
of
want a dramatic
conversation."
reading." Jeff, we're literally hosting a podcast.
I mean, it's true. And yet Jeff has time to screenshot and come after the broken
I
either
said
New
I
York
was in the
Times or
commercial.
Post.
And Joe Esposito, who thank you, Joe, for coming to my talk as well.
Oh,
said,
Joe
Jeff
was
Jarvis,
there? Oh, nice.
Social media samurai. I can do it all. By the way, I did my most touristy thing in years in San Francisco. You want to guess
What'd you do?
What'd you guess? What guess?
You went to Alcatraz.
Nope.
No, that involves being on the water.
Well, that's true. Also, you have to plan 8 months ahead. It's a modern touristy thing to do in San Francisco.
You went to Pier 39.
Oh, God, no. What do you think I am?
You went to the Exploratorium.
No.
You went up to the Coit
great.
Tower to see the view.
No. Appropriate for the show. A man who lives La Vida Google, what would I do in the city limits of San Francisco?
Did you stop by the Google building in San Francisco?
Well, I did that too, but I was next door to the thing. But no.
I don't know what there is to do that's googly.
What's googly in San Francisco?
You went to Anchor Steam Brewery?
No.
Did you ride in a Waymo car?
Yes.
Oh, you rode a Waymo.
I did a Waymo.
So that's timely because Cruise announced this week that they're going to kill their self-driving taxi. Their robo-taxi business is a terrible business. They're getting out of it. But Google's still doing Waymo. So how was it?
I was great. I thought it was going to be freaky. It's not at all. I only went a mile to the wonderful City Lights bookstore where, God bless them, they have all 3 of my current books on sale.
Oh, that's
They're all
nice.
autographed.
Yeah,
they are wonderful.
a classic
They're
bookstore.
the best. They are the best.
Yeah.
And so it was just a mile, but it was fun. And it was fun to see the wheel go around. I took video of it, which everybody does. And somebody had left their glasses. They were not just sunglasses. They were prescription glasses in the car.
Oh.
So I hit the call button, once this thing is going around on the street, it's going to the ocean. No, I just said, some lady has left their glasses in the thing. He fills out a form, and then he said, well, okay, we're going to bring it back to the depot. So we can try to reunite the glasses.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
That is fun.
It is fun. It was fun.
Was it a good driver?
Well, that's the thing, Paris. Normally when I sit in a taxi, I feel too privileged. Like someone's driving me around.
Oh, yeah. You feel
and they're
bad.
bored.
Yeah.
They're thinking of all kinds of things.
I agree with you.
I'm thinking that, but of course there's no one driving. And then I'm thinking, well, what do I tip? No need, because there's also no salary for anyone doing this, which is a whole other issue, but we'll leave that.
Yeah, that's why I overtip, because I have guilt, white guilt.
Yeah, I do too.
So, here's a hundo. I'm sorry you have to do this. Can I drive you next time?
That's what podcasting has gotten to. Podcaster and taxi driver.
Oh, it's not far off, my friends. It's not far off.
I know, my friend.
Next time you're going to call into this show from the front seat of a cab.
Hey, I'm driving a cab. Well, that's what George Burns said. He says, too bad all the people know how to run this country are either barbers or cab drivers.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh, that's so old fart.
That is such an old fart story.
So old fart. Oh, my God.
George who? George Burns and Allen. Good night, Gracie.
You got to play a little.
I'm not even going going to try and guess what that is. Is it a black and white show?
No, you got to play. Oh,
Was
yeah,
there
of course.
color?
No, color.
It was also radio.
Oh my God.
There was not even any
They didn't even have
pictures.
video back. It was just someone screaming into a conch shell and hoping someone else heard it.
Okay, so let's do it, Leo. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. That's
hilarity.
funny. That's hysterical. Hilarity ensued.
Well, I mean, you probably back in the day hadn't heard many people say things, so that would just be fun based on the novelty, right? You're like, who's Gracie? bankruptcy.
I don't know. Do you feel this way, Jeff? I often feel like I'm watching my era disappear in the rearview mirror. Like,
try teaching.
Yeah, and I don't even understand where we're going, where this car is headed. But I remember back there, and it's like I'm in this is a different world. That's why the AI thing is so wild.
All right, give me a short list of essential content, be it video or radio, from your era you feel like is disappearing, and I'll watch it and review it.
Oh, it's this show. All the time we talk about Beetle Bailey and George and Gracie. And I mean, everything we talk about is ancient history now. Do you remember Tom Jones' tight pants?
I don't think about it. You may, but I don't.
Do you remember Martin Mull and Fernwood Tonight?
Oh, that's not going back far enough. I'm going to say...
She doesn't remember it.
Dobie Gillis.
Dobie Gillis is no. Fernwood Tonight. Have you ever heard of that?
Fernwood Tonight. You could be just making up words to me. That's how little I know.
Wait. I got one. All right, Max Headroom.
Oh, what?
She knows Max Headroom.
I know of Max Headroom.
Yeah, because that's kind of become a cultural.
I haven't seen that, but I will watch it.
You'd like it. You'd like it. It's great. What? It's great.
Wow, this guy was doing your shtick before you.
Going like
this guy wants. Was this before Dev Null?
It was before Dev Null. It was.
So is the reason why you're responding to this with animosity?
I hate him
because you're jealous.
I hate him. It's a guy in a rubber head. Hate him. So what's going to happen to TikTok? So TikTok has now said we want to go to the Supreme Court.
Place the bets, ladies and gentlemen.
It is. It's getting worse and worse. They got a federal court. They asked a federal court to pause the congressional order to sell or be closed down. The federal court said no. That's well within the power of the United States government to shut you down. It's not a First Amendment issue. It's a security issue. So now they're saying we're going to the Supreme Court. They also they want to pause at least to get to January 20th because they have to be sold by January 19th. It is coming down to the wire now for TikTok. There is a white knight. Have we talked about Frank McCourt? Do you know who
we
Frank
haven't?
McCourt
I want to know
is?
what to think about this. So tell me what to think.
So Frank McCourt is not so loved in Los Angeles, former owner of the LA Dodgers. But he's an interesting fellow. He created something called Project Liberty. Actually, what I know about him, I read on Wikipedia. And it's kind of interesting. Project Liberty, so he's a billionaire, right? He's one of those rich. But he's one of the good ones, I think.
That's what we thought of some others, too.
I know. You know what? They're all bad, aren't they? So he's not loved because of the Dodgers. He does own the football club Marseille in France. And he's the founder of the nonprofit Project Liberty. So Project Liberty, and he's donated $100 million to start a school of public policy at Georgetown. He actually gave him another $100 million for the McCourt School. The Project Liberty, which was founded a few years ago, developed the Decentralized Social Networking Protocol, or DSNP. The idea being he believes that you should be able to have social media without giving up, everything to a centralized body that might sell it on. So he has put together, now I don't think it's enough money, but he says he's put together a $20 billion consortium to buy the U.S. arm of TikTok. He's got the commitments for the money.
Half the price of Twitter. Sounds like a low price.
It seems like a low ball. I agree.
But the $44 billion was ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
it's now written down to, I think, $16 billion.
Yeah. Project Liberty, this is from Axios, has held conversations with a diverse set of stakeholders. They will begin an investor roadshow early next week. That's this coming week in New York City and San Francisco. Tim Berners-Lee supports it.
That's a good sign.
That's a good sign. Tim Berners-Lee is also an advocate for a decentralized web. He wants you to control your own personal data. He's got his own project to do that. And David Clark, who's a computer science and AI senior research scientist and is fairly well known. So, I don't know. Is this better than TikTok shutting down? They will not get the algorithm, which is the thing that makes TikTok TikTok. And I have a feeling it's also the thing that he doesn't care about because, the algorithm is the controversial part of TikTok.
But the algorithm is the good part.
Well, the Chinese government says we're never going to let that out of there.
They're not going to sell anything.
They might sell the name and the users, the U.S. users and the name they might sell. I think TikTokers are up in arms, but I think most TikTokers, like my son, who has, 2.5 million TikTok followers, are just moving to Instagram. It's so similar.
No.
Something I have found interesting is trying to figure out how the TikTok ban would actually work in practice. Some people have written a bit about this, which is that most likely we're going to see, obviously, it being banned from Apple and Google app stores, but we could also see like an outright block of access by internet service providers, which is where it starts to get tricky because TikTok also has kind of a deal with Oracle to keep its users, like US users' data on US soil rather than in China. And so if TikTok doesn't get sold and is banned, it'll be interesting to see what happens to that data.
Well, I guess it just all goes back to China. I don't know.
Yeah. Because, Oracle then would face penalties on the daily if it was
that's a good
ostensibly
point.
Hosting the TikTok data in the U.S.
Yeah,
so
the Project
then does
Texas
it all just go
data
back to China?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they probably have to erase the drives.
Yeah, perhaps.
Or something. The big question is what will happen January 20th? Because I don't think Donald Trump is going to weigh in at all on that. I think he's got bigger fish to fry. He's much more interested in what he's going to do with the border. And he's going to, despite his mandate, which isn't much of a mandate, but despite his mandate, I think he understands he can't do everything. So he's going to do the things that he thinks are most important. I don't think TikTok is very high on that list.
So the Knight First Amendment Center at Columbia University, Jamil Jaffer and a colleague wrote an essay in the New York Times urging the Supreme Court to step in on First Amendment basis.
So, yeah, but the problem is there's a lot of precedent. First Amendment does not protect foreign nationals trying to subvert our country.
It protects my speech on TikTok.
Yeah,
that's the issue.
But you still have speech elsewhere.
Well, that's like saying, okay, fine, you don't need the New York Times, use the Washington Post. Well, we'll shut down the New York Times. That's okay. No First Amendment there. Fine.
Okay.
This is government involvement in speech. It is exactly that. It is the press of the people.
I will ask Kathy Gellis on Sunday for sure. She's our a lawyer who has admitted to the Supreme Court. She can work her magic.
She even got a new router for you.
She did? Oh, thank you, Kathy.
Aww.
Yeah, because she was having trouble with her internet going up and down.
I'm curious as to what the Supreme Court is going to say about all this.
I think they're going to say no. I think they're just going to say we're not going to take the case. The First Amendment, there's a lot of precedent for the First Amendment that's why we have CFIUS. The Committee for Foreign Investment in the United States, they have the right, and the president has the right to ban foreign entities if they deem them a security threat. That's not a question.
So
I hate to say this, but what does Elon Musk think about all this?
I was wondering
that seems
that too.
to actually be a relevant question as to determining what Trump would do.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. I think Elon, so this is interesting because Elon, of course, wants free speech for X.
He opposes the TikTok ban.
He does. Okay.
Or at least did in April. Maybe it's changed.
Well, that's the problem. Who knows?
I mean, it's more than just a business thing, right? So the piece in the Times, it's down in the lower part of the rundown on line 123. says that the most consequential conclusion of the appellate court decision, the First Amendment permits the government to protect Americans from covert foreign manipulation by restricting their access to foreign-controlled media, even when that means American speech is restricted too.
There you go.
So imagine, well, but wait, so imagine if the government said, okay, we're going to cut off RT. The government's going to do that. I don't think they could do that at all. But it's further than that. It's affecting Americans' speech. So the appellate court's reasoning deviates from ordinary First Amendment principles in a number of ways. To begin, the judges gave near categorical deference to the government's claims about the risks associated with TikTok. And of course, this is the Biden administration, not the Trump administration. But courts have recognized the crucial importance of scrutinizing government claims more closely when First Amendment rights are at stake, given how vital free speech is to the operation of democracy. When the Supreme Court rejected the Nixon administration's request to bar the New York Times from printing articles related to classified it did so even though the administration warned that publishing would derail peace talks and expose intelligence agents.
You're talking about the Pentagon Papers.
Pentagon Papers, yep. The Court of Appeals did not cite the Pentagon Papers case, even though the TikTok case, like that one, involves a request to preemptively bar speech in the name of national security. They failed to interrogate the government's claim that the ban is intended to prevent Chinese government's covert manipulation of American users.
They accepted the government's assertions on the face of it.
Yes.
Which is not surprising. This is the problem, is the government's never told us or anybody, but perhaps the Congress, why they think TikTok's a threat.
All this leads us to the most disturbing feature of the ruling, which is its audacious denial that the TikTok law constitutes censorship at all. In the court's telling, banning TikTok actually vindicates the values that undergird the First Amendment, how's that for paradoxical, by protecting Americans from possible Chinese government influence over the editorial decisions that power TikTok's platforms.
In other words, if you had an American making the editorial decisions, it would be okay.
Yeah.
But because it's Chinese government, so this protects really the rights of Americans to free speech. But I think they've always said that, foreign governments don't have free speech rights in the United States.
Foreign governments do, but we do. That's what I keep coming back to. It's a platform
our content
for us.
on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, but our content is not posted on TikTok as is. TikTok and its algorithm and potentially the Chinese government decide which of us is seen and which of us isn't seen.
I'm cool with that. I, for one, like my new TikTok masters.
You can see how they say it. Yes, it's your speech, but it is the Chinese who are deciding who gets to talk.
My book was printed, my paperback, the Gutenberg parenthesis, on sale now. It was printed in the UK. It wasn't printed in the US. So could the U.S. government say, oh, no, those Brits, they're trying to influence American brains. Nope, you can't do that. It's ludicrous. It's acting like the world doesn't exist.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Did TikTok go to the Supreme Court? Have they asked for cert?
I don't know yet. That's a good question.
This is definitely something we'll talk about with Kathy Gellis and she's been a very strong advocate of the First Amendment. We'll ask.
Yes, I think TikTok has sought a Supreme Court hearing.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
2 hours ago, in fact, Voice of America's.
They just did. Okay.
They seek a hearing.
So they're looking for cert, and this is where the Supreme Court. This isn't shadow docket because the Supreme Court is sitting, so the Supreme Court could respond to them. An individual justice could respond, or they could respond as anonymously. Or they could give it cert. They could say, "Yeah, we'll hear that case."
And if it even delays for 2 days, then that changes.
A delay would be all they need, right?
Well,
presuming you could get the president's attention, and he really has a very long to-do list on January 20th, if you read what he says. So I don't know. I would be sad. I don't think it's the end of the world.
If they're given cert, one thing to ask Kathy, if you don't mind, is what is the then would Kathy file a friend of the court brief, and what does that timetable look like? How does she get her voice in there?
She's probably written it already. Knowing Kathy, she's probably written it already. She works for Mike Masnick's Copia Institute, TechDirt's kind of policy arm, and would presumably, if she wants to file a amicus brief would file it as the Copia Institute. I'm just curious if Mike has said anything about this. Let me just look.
Yeah, let's look.
Or if she's written on TikTok, because she writes for TikTok. TikTok ban stories. Here's one from Carl Bodie, November 15th. Trump may kill America's performative TikTok ban for the benefit of his billionaire buddy. Carl never
really
wanted to
love the
mince words.
Their headlines are so great. Which buddy?
Probably Elon, right? I don't know.
Well, how would it benefit Elon?
I don't know. Let's see.
The CEO of TikTok has been asking Elon for his help on this. Or his
President-elect has not yet announced a decision on or if or how to proceed, but some advisors expect him to intervene on TikTok's behalf if necessary, including Conway and 3 others. Who's Conway? Not George Conway. Who's the Conway he's talking about? I don't know. Who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss private conversations. Trump promised in the campaign to protect the app, even though he's also signed an executive order in his first term that would have banned it.
Well, that was then. This is now.
Yeah, right. His buddies. Well, Larry Ellison is definitely a buddy. He was there. He was at Mar-a-Lago with Elon Musk. Safra Katz, big donor. She's the CEO of Oracle, big donor to the Trump campaign. Jeffrey Yass is, of course, a minority holder of TikTok stock. He has a 15% stake in TikTok, and he's a major billionaire Trump donor.
That's where you're talking from.
That's the buddy,
influence.
Jeff Yass, probably. Is that the same Yass as in
yassified
Yass
him?
Queen? Has he been yassified? I don't know.
That's a great question.
I don't think it's the same. Now, remember, the other person who's potentially going to benefit it is Mark Zuckerberg. Meta, Instagram will absolutely benefit from the banning of TikTok. People like my son will just move over there. YouTube too.
If Zuckerberg had any generosity, he would come out publicly and say, "Don't ban it."
You think he would? Do you think he'd do that?
No.
No.
Probably not.
Do you think generosity is his first name or his middle name?
Started with if.
Anyway, well, we'll watch with great interest. Forbes has an article that says Emily Baker White saying if TikTok's banned, American data could end up back in China. Okay.
Great.
I don't think that's a good question. I think they would. I don't know. I don't know what the law said or anything. I'll be very interested to see what happens. Meanwhile, Bluesky's benefiting. They're now talking about having a paid subscription. It'll still be free, but if you wanted to, you could pay, what is it, $8 for a better internet? You'd get
a Bluesky
profile badge.
I would pay for I would pay for.
You love Bluesky. Yeah.
I don't know, extra features. I just enjoy using it.
Videos are
$8 a
limited
month.
to 60 seconds. I'd pay for longer videos. I'd happily support them.
I mean, I had been one of the first subscribers to Twitter Blue back when it was still Twitter Blue, just because I used Twitter so much back in the day that I was like, of course I'd pay for this. I also loved the Nuzzle-like feature they had on that. I have a completely off-the-wall question. Jeff, have you seen the New Jersey drones, ?
Yes,
the New Jersey
indeed.
lights in the sky that are mysterious and no one can explain them?
I haven't seen them myself. But they are. Mind you, I remember I live about 5 miles from Trump's golf course.
Bedminster.
So they've been seen over Bedminster. Where there's also, by the way, right there, a major AT&T knock.
If you want to see a video of it, I put it in the rundown right above the changelog. My buddy and former coworker, Dave, like a week or two ago, had posted videos from his mother and brother who both live in that area of like New Jersey, and they're crazy. All
right, let's see. What line number did you post those to?
145.
All right, let me go down to 145er. This is the New York Times story? Oh, no. This is video from my buddy Dave. Sorry.
Listen, there is a New York Times story.
It's close to a New York Times story. Something really weird is happening in Morris County.
I mean,
that's not an airplane. That's for sure not an airplane. It looks kind of big for a drone. Maybe Amazon's testing drone delivery.
I mean, the Pentagon has gotten involved.
Why is that? The lights are on. They're very bright. They're not hiding.
No, and it's just, I mean, it's very strange. There's quite a few different videos in there.
Kind of looks like a helicopter. I'll be
honest
honest with you.
There's been more helicopter activity around me. Yes,
It looks a lot
more.
like a helicopter. I hate to tell you. I've seen
if it was
that.
a
I saw that out my window
helicopter-
last night. It was a helicopter. Looked just like that.
Officials have said that they don't know what they are, but that they're not U.S. military.
How do they
and
know?
They don't think they're foreign.
Well, they have radar. That's a helicopter. Give me a break.
If it was a helicopter, Leo, I think they would say it.
New York Post. Mystery NJ drones are coming from Iranian mothership offshore, Congressman suggests. Should be shot down.
Oh, it's the Jewish space lasers. Now I know. Yeah, just shoot at them. What the hell? What could possibly go wrong?
At this time, we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening, but at no point were our installations threatened when this activity was occurring.
Pentagon denies
Says the
lawmakers'
press
claim that
secretary.
New Jersey drones are from Iran.
I just want to tell you that when times get weird and tough, people kind of get a little nutty, and you're going to hear much, much more of this kind of crap for the next few years.
Yep.
I mean,
for
certainly,
one,
I'm
am trying to
not
keep my
saying
feet
it's
on the
Iranian
ground.
drones or anything.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of interesting. It's interesting that a bunch of people are having these strange, unidentified flying object sightings.
I think it's more a
New
reflection
we're
on our
saying
psyche.
We're not calling it from space. If
Yeah.
this were other states, they'd be saying it comes from outer space. But we in
New Jersey is just like there are
have our-
drones.
It's just up there. There's some drones up there. I don't know what they're doing.
Staten Island. It must have come from Staten Island.
Staten
They're
Island.
always bothering us, those people.
I will say, according to Lance, the Pine Bush UFO Museum in New York, this area has a lot of very specific things about it that result in aliens visiting us. He said it's because the ley lines connect and there's quartz in the ground in high quantities. So, you know,
Louise.
it could be Lance could be right.
Did you ask him how he feels about Bed Bath & Beyond stock?
No, but twice during our tour, he did ask our group if we've heard of this cool guy named Joe Rogan, who's got a lot of good ideas.
You're watching, listening, participating in This Week in Google with Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis. We're glad you're here. More stories from the front. Reddit has decided, hey, everybody's scraping us, using us for their search. Why don't we have an AI based on Reddit content? They call it Reddit Answers. Redditors can ask questions and receive answers using a new AI-powered conversational interface that pulls up curated summaries of relevant conversations from Reddit. That seems like a good thing. As an avid Reddit user, Paris Martineau, do you think you would use this?
No, because I don't feel confident in its ability to appropriately, like when I am using Reddit to get an answer for something, there's a lot of different calculations that are going on in the back of my mind. I'm like, how old is this? If I find a thread that answers my question, I'm like, was this from 7 years ago?
Oh yeah, you
or
definitely
2
look at
months
that.
ago. You know, what is the context of what this person is responding
Okay,
to?
but look at what this does. So the first thing it does, you ask it a question, it gives you a summary of some of the answers, and then it gives you links to the actual Reddit thread. So you still would have the opportunity. This is just finding Reddit threads for you that answer that question.
That's called a search engine.
Isn't that just search? I could just search better sleep in
Yeah, I guess.
reddit.com and get that.
Yeah, or use
And meanwhile,
Google to do
isn't Reddit competing with the companies it's licensing to? The Wall Street Journal has a story about them saying that their licensing revenue grew
60
from
million.
81.6 million.
Yeah, they got a 60
First
from
9
OpenAI.
months.
Yeah.
First 9 months.
Yeah, because it's
What's the
good
percentage
stuff.
of its overall revenue?
Oh, you have to ask me that.
They don't have a
You know?
lot of revenue. I know that. It's not a big money maker.
What is Reddit's?
Why don't you ask
there was
Reddit Answers?
$348 million in revenue.
So it's a third.
Last quarter.
And what was the profit?
Quarter. Oh, quarter.
Profit in quarter, yeah. And profit was $29 million.
It's good. They haven't made a profit in very many quarters. That may
What's
be
the
first.
current market cap?
Billions.
Great question.
I saw
Billions.
at the dinner Paris and I attended, I saw my old boss, Steve Newhouse, who's the one who decided to buy Reddit and then turn it back to the market.
29 billion.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing. I
will say, I've noticed as an avid Redditor, sometime in the last couple of days, my app is updated and now I'm seeing ads in Reddit comments. Like because most of the time I spend on Reddit, I'm scrolling through comments.
I pay for Reddit.
But now there are ads.
Yeah,
I mean, that might make me pay for Reddit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say, over the last couple of years, especially over the last year, Reddit ads have gotten good. And that's never something I would really say. But they've gotten targeted. They've gotten a lot of their ads are in like Reddit lingo. Like they fit very well into the
that's
site.
smart.
They're
That's smart.
clearly doing some like work on their ad strategy and the ad strategy for ad buyers, which is interesting.
Here's Cloudflare's year in review. Here's some stats. Cloudflare, because they give away so much stuff, they shield so many sites. They really have kind of their finger on the pulse of the internet. So they, for the last 5 years, have been putting out a review of internet trends and patterns they have observed. Global internet traffic, they say, grew 17% this year. It's kind of interesting that there's still room for growth. Google's still the most popular internet service overall. OpenAI, #1 in AI. Binance, #1 in crypto. WhatsApp, top messaging platform. Facebook, the top social media site. That's kind of a surprise. Starlink traffic tripled in 2024. That's about what it did last year as well. I'm not surprised. After initiating service in Malawi in Africa in July 2023, Starlink traffic from that country grew 38 times in 2024. As Starlink added new markets, we saw traffic grow rapidly in those locations. Starlink has got to be another SpaceX home run. Googlebot, Google's web crawler responsible for the highest volume of request traffic to Cloudflare in 2024. Not a surprise. ByteDance, the owners of TikTok, have an AI crawler called ByteSpider. That traffic declined over the year, while Anthropic's AI crawler Claudebot first started showing signs of ongoing activity in April and then declined after initial peak in May and June. Globally, one third of mobile device traffic from iOS. Android had 90% share of mobile device traffic in 29 countries and regions. I would imagine.
You snobs all ignore us Android users.
Well, but I think most of the iOS traffic comes from the U.S., frankly. But there's a lot of it, right? Peak iOS mobile device traffic share was over 60% in 8 countries and regions. They don't say which one. Well, maybe they do. I could click the link and get more detail.
You could,
but I'm not going to, because this is a short show and I got a lot to talk about.
Since when?
Wait, I'm curious, is this based on desktop and browser use? Like, obviously, this doesn't account
all traffic. I think it's all traffic.
Cloudflare.
So it also accounts for, like, app users?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
It all goes
Facebook
through Cloudflare.
Is over.
I know. I don't understand that.
Services.
That's a shocker.
I would understand that if it was more browser based, because
remember, this is global, and I think that Facebook probably
that's true.
Has bigger market share globally than it is here in the U.S.
It's the internet in certain places.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. Yeah. Google is far and away the most popular search engine globally across all platforms. To answer your question, on mobile devices and operating systems, Baidu, the Chinese Google, is a distant second. Bing is a distant second across desktop and Windows devices, of course, with DuckDuckGo the second most popular on Mac OS.
Commies.
Here's one for you, Jeff. Google Chrome is far and away the most popular browser overall.
Yeah.
Well, this is also true on Mac OS devices.
Oh, wait. That's interesting. Google is the most popular on Mac devices?
Yes, but on iOS devices, Safari is well ahead of Chrome. You pretty much have to use Safari on iOS. Yeah. On Windows, Edge is #2, of course, because it's pre-installed. It's the default. But it's still, Chrome beats it is #1 on Windows even. The top 10 countries ranked by internet speed all had average download speeds above 200 megabits per second. Spain If I went and asked you, let's say we're on Jeopardy, and I say, this country had the best internet speed in the world.
This is a Family Feud question. So you say, I'll take
Survey
Malawi.
says
Survey
Spain. Spain. Isn't that interesting?
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Let me see if 41.3% of global traffic comes from mobile devices. And the majority in 100 countries is from mobile. This is why I find this one of all of the different summaries the most interesting, because Cloudflare really has its fingers on the pulse.
They have the picture, yeah.
They have a big generalized picture of the world. So Instagram is definitely feeling the heat from competition and seeing the opportunity. If TikTok closes its doors in a month, it'd be a month, wouldn't it? A month and a few days. So they are trying new stuff. You've seen Instagram for teenagers. Now they're rolling out something that nobody does. TikTok does not do, trial reels. So you can see if a reel is going to do well. So I know a little bit about this because Henry kind of fills me in. There's a lot of A/B testing when you put out a video. You look at the uptake of different styles and so forth. But you've never been able to post a reel or a TikTok for non-followers to see how it will do. I
find that a little weird. So subject the rest of the world to it.
Well, you want to
because I guess they're trying to A/B test performance on the Explore page.
Yeah, followers kind of color it. So you want to post the video to kind of a brand new set of people that don't know you.
Wait, let me understand this. I see two possibilities here. Is it so you don't show crap to your followers?
No.
Or is it to get a bigger audience?
It's to get a better signal, a clean signal.
Okay, all right. I thought it was.
So if we only showed stuff to people who watch our shows, that wouldn't give us a good idea of how our shows are doing. You'd want to show it to people who don't know your shows, and then you'd get a better idea if you were doing a comparison. Creators can share a reel as a trial by toggling the trial option. The reel will then be shared with non-followers. It won't appear on their profile's main grid or Reels tab. Of course, followers could see it if somebody shares it with them. After 24 hours, creators can see how many views, likes, comments, and shares the reel received. Then they can choose to throw it away or put it on their profile. I don't know. I think that's interesting. Instagram is doing that because TikTok does not allow it, and I'm guessing that this is something creators want. You're right, though, Jeff. It does say a lot of creators see Instagram as their business card, which puts pressure on the content they publish. So they don't want to test new content.
So I'll show my crap to the plebes.
Yeah. They don't want to lose followers or maybe even more importantly, brand deals.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, the whole idea is Instagram's trying to get out there and say, hey, come over here, creators.
I think one thing that's really interesting, I'm still scrolling on the Cloudflare thing. We touched on this briefly, but the top 5 of this is Google for most popular internet services. Google, then Facebook, Apple, TikTok. Then you go down, Instagram is number 7.
Yeah,
I think it's
a lot of
very
growth potential.
interesting that Cloudflare says that TikTok even unseated Apple for number 3 like briefly throughout the year.
Yeah.
TikTok
I remember
is really
this is
eating Instagram's lunch, and it has not been around even a fraction of the time.
It's better.
It's better.
Although I feel like they have become a little enshittified in the last few months. I don't know about you. I see many more ads than I have in the past. Sometimes every third TikTok view is an ad.
Well, are you considering the ones with affiliate links ads? Because that's, I think, different. Yeah, I mean, ostensibly those aren't ads. That's
but they are
content. They are, but they're an ad for.
It's a TikTok store ad, basically. Yeah. So the guy says, "Oh, hey guys, you won't believe this, but if I had a college student, I would definitely get them this Cloud Note because it's amazing, and it's on his channel." It's not a brand deal. I mean, Henry does brand deals. This is like he's selling this in the TikTok store. But it means that everything I'm seeing on TikTok these days seems to be, okay, so there's a legit one, USA Today, and now immediately he's selling something, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's because it's been a big kind of money maker
there's Elton
for
John with
creators
Jimmy Fallon.
as well as this.
And now he's selling something. So every other one is selling something.
Well, I do think part of it is, Leo, like right
she's
now,
selling something.
You just paused on these, so TikTok is going to show you more of them because it thinks you want that.
No,
That's why whenever I see them, I don't. I
swipe right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't know. I mean, that's the thing is sometimes these guys, you think they're, see, everyone's selling something on this. To me, this has really degraded my TikTok experience.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it happened. I was shocked. A bankruptcy judge in Texas has rejected the sale of InfoWars to the Onion.
Appointed by whom, by the way?
I don't know.
I think.
Judge Christopher M. Lopez.
Every case now they should
Federal
right there.
Bankruptcy Court in Houston. Remember that the Onion offered less money to the. So the whole point of this InfoWars sale.
Do we know
Sandy
that?
Hook.
I'm not sure
Yes,
we know that it was less.
We do know that
for sure.
Yeah, the whole bankruptcy sale, of course, is because the courts and juries ruled that the Sandy Hook families deserved $1.5 billion settlement from Alex Jones for lying about them. And he has to sell everything. So the Onion came along and said, look, they offered what I heard, but I'll have to check, half of what this, unfortunately, the other bidder is an InfoWars affiliate, right? Somebody who would basically give it back to Alex Jones, who offered a significant amount of money. They were only able to raise
It was a sealed bid.
Total value the total value of the Onion's bid was $7 million, including $1.7 million in cash put up by its parent company. The rest coming from the families of the Sandy Hook shooting victims. They essentially opted to put a portion of their earnings from the settlement against Mr. Jones towards the Onion's bid. Why? Because they didn't want Jones to continue to control InfoWars, and they loved the idea of the Onion doing it. Now, First United American Companies offered $3.5 million in cash. So in effect, you're right. The offer from the Onion, $7 million, is bigger, but not as much cash. Half the amount of
I think the
cash.
Onion was going to offer, part of the Onion offer was advertising for the family's cause.
Right, which was an anti-gun cause.
Right. By the way, just saying, the judge was appointed in 2019, so guess by who?
Yeah. The judge acknowledged the case involved lots of emotion. Thank you, Judge. From supporters of the Onion and fans of Mr. Jones. He concluded that despite some good faith errors, neither side did anything wrong. But he decided to overturn it. I don't think he gave it to the other bidder, though. I don't know what's going to happen.
No, he didn't. No, there's some back to you kind of thing, to the
bankruptcy.
Yeah. The trustee.
Judge Lopez's ruling put the fate of InfoWars in limbo, instructed the court-appointed trustee to come up with an alternate resolution, though it's not immediately clear what would happen. The trustee didn't have anything to say about it. Ben Collins of The Onion was deeply disappointed by the decision yesterday.
Ben
So the
is
Onion
our hero.
would continue to seek a resolution that helps the Sandy Hook families receive a positive outcome for the horror they endured. So they're going to continue to try to get it. Chris Mattei was an attorney for the Sandy Hook family, said his clients were disappointed too.
Now, the one thing I don't know about this case is that indeed, in a bankruptcy auction, one is trying to get the highest monetary value for the creditors.
Right.
Are there other creditors besides the families?
I don't think so because, I obviously don't know the specifics.
No, I think there are. So here's from the New York Times. Judge Lopez said the bankruptcy auction failed to maximize the amount of money that the sale of InfoWars should provide to Mr. Jones' creditors, including the Sandy Hook families, in part because the bids were submitted in secret. It was a sealed bid. Nobody knows what anybody else is bidding. So I think there are other creditors. I'm sure the families are by far the largest.
By far the largest creditor, you bet.
Yeah.
Because they were given, what's their total?
$1.4 billion.
Yeah. So that beats the hell out of $3.5 million or $7 million.
The thing that some people, not fans of InfoWars, but the people who are not fans of InfoWars are concerned about is that this other group would basically put InfoWars back on the air. They would buy it and give it back, which to me should be considered by the court, by the way. That is a reasonable part of the consideration, but maybe I don't know, maybe not. Maybe not. I put in here a very long piece that I doubt either of you read.
I tried to, but it's by someone I cannot bear.
Oh, okay. Do you know Patrick McKenzie?
Oh, no. That was a different one. Very long piece you put in here was by somebody
else.
Oh,
that's another one, which I will talk about later. I put in 2 really long pieces. Patrick McKenzie is writing about debanking.
Yeah, I figured you'd just explain this to me.
I will explain it to you, and then I will explain the other piece to you. So you see, you don't have TLDR, man.
No, the other one's trouble. Go ahead.
So Patrick McKenzie, who works for Stripe and knows a little bit about how the banking industry works, which most people have no idea. Right. But it all started when Mark Andreessen was on Joe Rogan and said, I know a lot of crypto guys who've been debanked. It's being used as a tool or weapon systematically wielded by specific political actors against private individuals without due process. So Patrick took it on himself to explain in a very long piece what's happening. He says, I previously worked for Stripe. I'm currently an advisor there. Stripe is not a bank, but many regulated financial institutions have similar considerations. If you are in finance, the short version of this is you're very risk adverse. And what you don't want to do is spend a lot of hours and employee time responding to requests from regulators. You don't want to get in trouble with regulators. So you're very risk adverse. And one of the things you really don't want to do is you want to bank people like you and me, consumers. You don't want to bank cryptocurrency enterprises because you're going to get a lot of requests from regulators. You're going to get a lot of heat, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. It's not illegal to do it, but
to do what? To bank them or to refuse
to bank them? It's not illegal to do either.
Either, okay.
Advocates, he writes, often invoke a user-centric perspective of debanking, focusing on the impact on individuals and firms, which is admittedly terrible. But then they conflate it with the regulator's decisions regarding bank supervision in ways which are facially not about direct user impact. The industry doesn't call it debanking. Partly, he says, out of the usual corporate euphemism concerns, but also because it's simply them denying a service to individuals or mostly companies, small businesses, who are going to cause them a lot of headaches. He himself was, and I'll put it in air quotes, debanked because he had his small business selling software over the internet and received 2 incoming ACH transfers a day from 2 payment providers. The bank said, yeah, your business sounds legitimate, but we're going to give you 30 days to go to another bank. Huh. because not because they thought he was illegitimate, but because they didn't want the hassle of all of the reporting they would have to do. This bank did not have a small business practice at this time. Some banks do. This particular bank didn't. And it hadn't built out the higher degree of policies and procedures that would support small business banking. They wanted a bank to consumers, not small businesses. And as you can imagine, a lot of banks really are nervous about crypto, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of banks it's not that the regulators are saying, hey, you got to shut these guys down. It's these KYC and AML regulations, know your customer and anti-money laundering. And they have to he says, not only do they have to follow these policies, you can overpromise, but you can't underdeliver. After you've told a regulator you'll do X, not doing X can result in fines and other punishments, even if the regulator did not tell you specifically to do X. In other words, banks have a kind of a higher responsibility in this know your customer and anti-money laundering regulation. And they're understandably reluctant. They're also they don't communicate why, for a lot of probably good reasons. So He uses as an example a bodega with a sideline in alternative financial services. but I think it's worth just at least skimming this, because it'll give you a better idea of
where does he come out. The debanking is an awful thing. Or?
First of all, the term debanking is intentionally loaded, and it's not the term anybody in the industry uses. And what his point is that most of the time, the reason banks refuse or end up closing accounts of people involved in crypto and DeFi is it's too much trouble for the bank. They just don't want to do it. They're not being asked to do it. They just don't want to do it. So anyway, read it, because I think it's very even-handed.
Paris, he's just given us homework.
Yeah.
All right.
He says plausibly,
will
some
this be
crypto
on the
founders.
midterm?
I was trying to get ChatGPT to summarize this, but it seems to be down.
Oh, well,
You broke ChatGPT.
Use Notebook
I did,
LM
yeah.
then. Notebook LM, it's better.
Perhaps a founder might ask a
You
friend,
can
I
make a
run a
podcast
legitimate
of it.
business, which happens to be in crypto, and suddenly found my personal accounts closed. Why did this happen? I did nothing wrong. Playing the odds, the bank thinks there's an unacceptable risk that you will use your personal accounts to launder money on behalf of the business, as somebody named Samuel Bankman-Fried did.
What's Andreessen's whining about in this?
Well, it's the same. It's this thing. It's that a number of crypto bros have lost their accounts because their bank didn't want their business.
I mean, where do you come down on this? Do you think that this is...
I think this is banks being banks.
I was going to say, this seems just like banks would do this normally if it wasn't crypto BS, but because the BS of this sort happens to be the crypto variety, it's just one more thing that they've decided to flag.
That's why he talks about bodegas, because it's not so loaded. But it's the same thing. Very few bodegas can get a bank to bank them.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think he's basically saying this is propaganda in a sense. This is not what you're saying it is. The Biden administration
is it perhaps
shutting down
moral
crypto.
panic? No.
Maybe moral panic. Yeah.
No, it's not.
No.
Gemini did work for this, and it's very... The summary was short, but then I asked, explain the part about bodegas, and I've got multiple paragraphs. So I don't have to read it all.
It's a lot of work. I think the bottom line is it's not what you think it is. And the problem is most people, certainly a lot of people in crypto and a lot of us in the public, don't really understand what banks are up to and what kind of regulations they need to follow. So I thought it was a good piece. It's at bitsaboutmoney.com. Debanking and debunking.
I'll give you the last note from the Gemini explanation of explain the part about bodegas. It goes into more detail. But then
maybe first, some people are asking, what is a bodega?
A bodega is a small corner store in New York, typically, that you could go to get some grocery products. There's usually a cat there, not for sale. It's just a guardian of the store. You could probably also get like beer, it can range anywhere from like...
And you might be able to send money to your relatives in another country, right? Sometimes they do that.
Sometimes, yeah. But that's not in everyone.
No. You might want to go to Bodega Cats right now and search for that, because it's a wonderful...
No, don't.
fraction.
That's a rabbit hole.
Don't forget a good chopped cheese. Chopped cheese.
Listen, a big part of a bodega, in addition to being a store, they also have a counter where they'll make stuff. You can get smoothies, you can get chopped cheeses, you can get a bacon, egg, and cheese.
What's a chopped
stuff like
cheese? What is that? I don't know what that is.
You need
Are you from New York? How do you know this stuff, John Ashley?
How do you not know a chopped cheese and bodegas?
You were born in New York City. How do you not know what a chopped cheese is?
We didn't have bodegas back in the 50s.
A chopped cheese is essentially just a cheeseburger, but like in a little... I'm frozen.
Sounds good. That's because you're eating too many cheeseburgers.
Yeah, no, a chopped cheese is essentially just a hamburger, but like it was in a... what kind of roll was it in again? It was like a hoagie
roll.
Hoagie roll, yeah.
I don't care. Okay.
But it's chopped up.
Yes.
Okay.
Very delicious.
Fine. Sounds good. I'm going to have to go to New York to get one, because I don't think you can get one around here.
My wife made fun of me because I would go to the bodega and buy batteries. She said, it's the last place on earth you should ever buy a battery.
That's probably the most expensive batteries.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean,
They go to Target and buy them and then mark them up 100%.
Yeah, well, so I was a busy guy,
Okay, the unintended consequences paragraph from Gemini's summary of this thing to close us out. The article argues that this situation about bodegas highlights a flaw in the system. Regulations intended to target large-scale financial crime can inadvertently harm small businesses like bodegas, who are simply trying to serve their communities and may not have the resources to navigate complex regulatory requirements. A perfect summary.
That's accurate, except for the part that it's not the bodega that has to navigate those. It's the bank. And the reason the banks don't want the bodega business is because it's too much paperwork.
Well, I mean, I'd assume the bodega's lack of being able to navigate that is they're not going to be able to explain, hey,
maybe
here is why you shouldn't do this.
Maybe. Yeah, I think this guy's basically saying, look, this is how it is in financial services. You avoid risk. Mm-hmm. And risk sometimes doesn't mean that you're going to lose money. It means you're only it's going to cost you money in staff time filling out paperwork for the federal government because of things like know your customer and any money laundering. And I think you look into those laws and they all make a lot of sense in a world where terrorism relies on money flow, right? But it's not to infer that these bodegas are funding terrorism. It's just that. Or crypto bros.
Complicated.
It's just that they're in the line of fire because banks don't want to take any chances. They're very risk adverse.
Because banks have our money. We're kind of happy about that.
Yeah, we don't want them to be risky. That's what happened to the Silicon Valley Bank, and look what happened to them. All right, let's. Do you want to do the other one? Let's do some news stories, and then we'll do the other one. What do you think about David Sachs?
There's a very cute bodega cat in the chat, in Scooter X.
All right.
Really
Scooter X
gives us one cat.
Bodega cat.
A Cheeto cat.
It's falling asleep in a little pile of Cheetos, Leo.
This one?
Wait, no, you missed
No, go to the
it.
chat.
It's in the Discord.
It's not Bodega Cats of Instagram?
I mean, Bodega Cats of Instagram
there.
would be great.
Scooter just give us one.
Now, are they going to sell those Cheetos to people?
Oh, sure.
They're in a bag. They're fine. Who cares if the outside of your bag was... if you're concerned about the outside of your bag being touched by a cat, don't go to a bodega.
This is New York gives us a stronger immune system, At
my local bodega, there's
California.
the fattest cat you've ever seen, and she just lays on the ice cream fridge. Underneath the counters, there's an ice cream fridge.
Yeah, which is warm, ironically, because
I
don't know why it's warm. Got to keep things cool so it's warm.
Of course.
You're watching this week. You see, we learn things, lots of things. We learn about qubits and quantum computing and why bodega cats love ice cream refrigerators.
It's true.
This is what you learn here on This Week in Google with Paris Martineau of The Onion. The information.
Of The Onion?
Have you ever wanted to write for The Onion?
Oh, I'd love that.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun?
It'd be great. Yeah.
Baratunde Thurston used to be on until he became famous and doesn't want to have anything to do with us. But I think, he would. But he's just very busy.
I mean, Ben, I'm so happy that he owns it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Collins is great.
Ben's a great guy.
Baratunde used to write for The Onion. He also wrote for The Daily Show. So I'm not funny enough to write for The Onion. I feel like there would be a lot of pressure to
There's a certain way to do it.
Yeah.
There's a shtick.
There's a shtick. Area Man. You have to start with Area Man. Every joke starts with Area Man sees drone, thinks it's UFO, calls his mother. I don't know.
No, see,
that's
why I don't work for them. Showed the point. Yeah, right.
That's why I don't work for them.
It's a skill. Yeah. It's a talent.
It's a skill.
It's an art.
Now I'm just looking at photos of bodega cats.
I was all excited when I saw this story. YouTube is now turning on the auto dubbing feature for knowledge-focused content. You see how we are knowledge-focused content, but it's not on for us yet.
So if you couldn't, This Week in Google auf Deutsch hören? Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Vous êtes équipé à moi en français?
Oui.
There's a button you push,
turn
on automatic dubbing, and it automatically dubs English language YouTubes, which we're on your YouTube, into quite a large number of
Is it up on your
languages.
account yet? Can you go there and do it?
Well, I looked and I didn't see it. But then it supports English, French, German, Hindi, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Portuguese, and Spanish.
Oh, we've got to hear us dubbed in
Wouldn't that be cool?
German.
And I think it even does the lip sync, right?
That's crazy if it does the lip sync.
Oh, please. You've got to, John, would you tell Benito to put this on the to-do list?
I asked, they said it's not very good. The voices don't sound good. I think we should do it because I think it would make our content available in more countries.
Yes.
And I think it'd be great.
Absolutely.
Well, anyway, I haven't seen any examples of it yet. Let me see if I can find anybody. They showed it at Google I/O,
right?
But I never liked those. I feel like those are always overselling it, right?
Paris, you yelled at me for putting up one skeet during a commercial, and now look what you're doing on the Discord.
Is she putting up bodega cats?
Cats, lots of cats.
I'll do one last one. Hold on. This cat is
Busted.
protecting you from buying cigarettes for children.
I'm still in the Cheetos. I have to
that cat.
That cat is very serious. She says, "Don't use it to buy tobacco for minors." Do they all have cats, bodegas?
Oh, yeah.
You think it's a rat problem? They're trying to...
It's definitely rat related. They earn their keep, but also they're just companions. There was once I went to a bodega and behind the guy on the shelf where like the cigarettes and stuff are, there was a tiny little kitten, like palm size, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what a cute kitten!" And he goes, "1 second," leans down, picks up a second kitten. It was great. Those are the sort of experiences.
That's New York.
Well, I told you my son's going to open his restaurant in New York in the spring.
Are you serious?
You were
weren't here.
Week.
Oh, wow. That's
Salt Hank's Sandwich Shop is going to be...
We're going to the opening, Jeff.
It's going to open in the village.
Yes.
It's going to be on Bleecker Street in the old slutty vegan space.
As a pop-up or as a forever?
No, forever.
Wow.
He's got investors. He's got backers. He's going to be executive chef. And they're building a
every time
studio in the
walks
back.
in, yell, "Hey, Salts!"
Hey, Salts!
So he's moving to New York?
He's moving to New York.
Wow.
And initially he said, "I'll get an extra room so you can come out and stay." I said, "That'd be great." Then he said, "Dad, I looked at the rents in New York. I'm not getting an extra room."
I was going to say,
Wow. It's going to be expensive. He's going to build a studio in the back so that he can shoot his videos there. Yeah.
Where on when?
On Bleecker Street.
On when did you say?
I don't know. They
always
build
take
it
longer.
Out.
They always take
takes
longer to
So
open.
sometime next year. I think he's hoping.
So cool.
Is that it's a good Bleeker's a good place.
Oh, yeah,
That's a good location.
"Yeah, perfect for that."
The village, and there'll be NYU students there.
Right? Yeah, it's also just
Yeah, I would have gone when I was in college, for sure. I'll tell my sister who lives in that neighborhood to check it out.
It's pretty exciting.
Paris, you will come into Manhattan to have a Salt Hank sandwich.
I mean, I will also be there, yes.
Yes.
We will be there for the grand opening. The three of us. I promise you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a
We
big
should all
deal.
dress like giant salt shakers. Embarrass Hank.
Let's see. Can we find a salt shaker costume? Hold on here.
So
within the next year, I believe so, yes.
The slutty vegan Bleecker Street is temporarily closed. Can I tell you? It's closed forever. That's where Salt Hank's going to be. Okay, so don't get your hopes up, Bleecker Street.
Well, Bleecker and what? Go to maps and you can tell me.
I don't know. Here it is.
Oh, it's right by the Christopher Street. Oh, this is a great location.
Yeah, it
Bleecker and
is.
7th Ave.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's
Is
right
it a
next
good
to Bleecker
location?
Street, Pekin. Pizza, sorry, not Pekin.
It was not easy. It was not easy to get the place. They had to audition for the landlords to prove that they would be the best people to put in there. It was very competitive.
I put in the Discord a salt shaker costume. I can see Leo in this. I think
I will wear.
You may come as.
I will wear it. I will wear it.
You got it
Is
there?
this it?
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is
It's
it?
in the Discord. Look at the
Scroll
Discord.
down. Scroll down.
Adult salt shaker costume. Oh, it's lightweight. I like that.
That's great.
If I showed up wearing that, he would kill me.
Yeah, you would.
He would kill me.
It's on
But
sale.
what if all three of us
It's on
showed up
sale.
wearing that?
Well, no, you have to be Pepper.
That's true.
You have to be Pepper.
I like that they have a sexy salt shaker costume in the corner if you go back to the
Of course they do. Of course they do. Let me see. Could I wear that new? It is less expensive, though. Just there you go.
I mean, less fabric.
Is there a Worcestershire
certainly.
sauce?
There's less fabric.
Mustard costume.
They also have a Veruca salt costume, but that's not the same.
Oh,
That's-
you know what? I think Paris. Oh, Paris. There's a. Oh,
Jeff.
wait a second. I got it. We're coming. Like, oh, hold on. In the Discord. Okay, come on. Speed. I'm loading the punchline. Okay, there it is in the Discord. Paris.
Oh, that's great.
We've already
There we
seen this.
go.
Haven't we done this? Oh, I did it one year. That's what I've already done this.
Well, and this also goes to the meme, the hot dog costume meme.
That's pretty good.
You know
Pretty
that,
good.
right?
No,
Yes,
what's
of
the hot dog?
course.
I don't.
Paris,
I'm not
you
a
wanna
New
explain it?
Yorker.
No, I'd like you to explain it, Jeff. You can
It's
take
someone must have been responsible for this. Guy in a hot dog costume says.
We're all trying to find the guy responsible for
We're all
this.
trying to find the guy responsible for this. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
See, why didn't
That-
you do it?
Sounds like a New Yorker cartoon.
Yeah.
And the thing
right.
is, there's no ketchup costume allowed next to the hot dog costume. It's against the law. No ketchup allowed.
Do you allow relish, green relish?
Yes.
Okay.
Onions, crunchy
Yes. Oh,
and
yes.
caramelized.
Sauerkraut.
Both.
Just no
Yes.
ketchup.
No ketchup.
Ketchup
No.
is just red sugar syrup. Let's be honest.
It's wrong. It's just illegal.
All right. Boston Review time, kids. Here's the other story you didn't read.
Even Gemini's having problems finding the meaning of this. I've tried.
So you don't like Evgeny Morozov?
More to the point, Leo, he hates me. He wrote an 8,000-word personal diatribe against me.
What?
And so I really can't stand the SOB. And the irony of this is the reason he went after me so personally and so nastily is because I dared to be somewhat optimistic about the internet. And here he is being
that's
optimistic
hysterical.
about a effing I.
Well, maybe he was. Maybe he's going to change his tune.
No, he's not going to. He's a GERK.
Okay, well, I'm not going to talk about it then, even though he got responses from Brian Eno, Terry Winograd, Bruce Schneier. He got responses from some of the biggest people in the
He's saying
intellectual
if we
community.
could turn the clock back before the Cold War, then technologists would be okay, and then we'd have a nice AI. And
His
he'd be
point.
utopian.
I'll do a short thing, and let's just divorce it from him. But his point is not wrong, which is that some people don't like the idea of AI because it was Cold War driven, right? It came out of DARPANet funding and all of that. And they worry that same
I don't think I've heard
ethos lives
anyone
on.
say that to me.
No, that's true.
Honest
I've
to
never
God.
heard anybody say that.
I've never
either.
heard anyone say that.
Maybe in the circles he
And if you're
runs
going to
in.
complain about DARPA, you complain about the internet on that basis.
Right. The
But
internet was the
anyway,
same
go
thing.
ahead, Leo, while you pointed to this 8,000
So he calls
word
them the
article.
refuseniks. And then there's the AI futilitarians who think that AI will never go anywhere. But the thing I liked about this article, and the thing I thought was interesting about this article,
This is like Casey Newton's false equivalencies, but go ahead.
is that his point, and I think this is well taken, is that AI is kind of driven by a certain class of questions that the drive towards kind of order. And it's true that from the very earliest days of AI, it was all about, the idea was goal-driven problem solving, right? You're going to get slowly work your way towards the answer to this problem. And he says that real human creativity is not so task-driven. It's more wandering in the meadow, smelling the flowers. And that because we have kind of put AI in this mindset of, it's almost a bureaucratic, task-driven kind of process, it's not going to be very good at some of the things that we think are maybe more important.
That's another straw man. I don't think I've heard people say
don't think
that
so?
at all. No.
Well, he's saying it.
Yeah, so
Well, I think he's making a good point, and I certainly know this from and he quotes the early days of AI, where it really was Rand Corporation. It really was kind of pushing it towards, solving a specific problem, a task-driven.
At the
AI.
time, that's what it could do.
Right.
But now it has become a rather unbridled tool of creativity, even though it just spits cliches at us.
Right.
It's being used that way.
Okay. Well, good. He's a jerk, so forget it.
I would just like to say I briefly read the piece of criticism that you're discussing, Jeff, from way back when. It's absolutely absurd, ridiculously mean, and way too long.
Who is this guy then? What is his thing? Is he a professor? What is his?
No, that's the thing. He didn't make it through the doctoral program. But I'm not making casting aspersions.
His bio at the Boston Review says he writes on technology and politics, and he has a podcast called A Sense of Rebellion. So there you go. And he's written a couple of books. Oh, he wrote To Save Everything, Click Here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's kind of, I don't think he coined techno-solutionism, but that's one of his arguments.
Yeah. All right.
And the thing is, I actually quoted him favorably in What Would Google Do? But that didn't stop him from attacking me.
Well,
there are
forget
some
it.
just truly nasty things in here that I won't even dignify with quoting.
Oh, you found the article right away. Wow.
It's
all right.
bad. It's not. It's not.
I'm sorry. I had no idea
really
about the the feud, the
I'm sure
literary
that
feud.
your points in this are very
What's the-
valid.
what's the-
I
what's
just
the-
have to stand in solidarity.
Would you call it ad hominem, Paris?
At the very
Sounds
least,
like
yes.
it. Yeah. Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was kind of a Niagara Falls for me, yeah.
Slowly I turned. I will never
turned
quote
step by
that
step.
guy again. I thought there were some interesting points.
You were
but
going to
it's-
ask about David Sachs, and I interrupted you before with mustard, I think, or something.
and I was grateful. Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think we can just stay away from all of the people who have nominated for positions in this new administration.
Well, here's one thing that I don't think anybody's written about, though, which is why. So David Sachs is going to have a job apparently in the administration as an AI czar, but Elon Musk
a position, by the way, that does not exist will have to be
Does not exist
created
now.
and
So they're gonna
may
make
not
it
have any role at all.
I
But
may not be reporting to him, but apparently that'll be in government as I read it.
Right.
Whereas Musk and Ramaswamy are outside of government. Why? Because they don't want to divest. They don't want to deal with ethics. They don't want to deal with conflict of interest.
so you think Sachs will have to be confirmed by the
I don't know.
Congress?
No, it's not a confirmed spot. It's a made-up spot.
It's a made-up spot.
I
just
know
like
that
Doge
I will
is.
be requesting all copies of his communications as soon as possible.
Oh, yes.
I'm quite excited.
Well, one
for
thing
that
we know about
aspect of
David Sachs, who is the
involvement.
new crypto and AI czar and does not, in fact, really have much involvement in either industry, is that he thinks OpenAI is, what did he say, a non-profit piranha. So does Elon. So
it's Elon's boy.
Now it's two people who are against OpenAI. I think we
the
should
one thing
let
I just hope for, should I say it out loud? Oh God, should I say it out loud? I just dread the word appointment and Jason Calacanis ending up in the same sentence.
No, we can't even dignify that. Strike that from the record. Cut that.
Okay,
from the
thank
show.
you, John. Can you put that in as a curse word?
I think you're safe.
Okay,
I think you're safe. I don't think Calacanis is as much of a Trumpian as the rest of the All In podcast is.
Well, okay. I don't listen to the podcast, so I don't know.
Yeah, the only reason I say that is Alex Wilhelm, who is Jason's co-host now on This Week in Startups and a good friend of our network. We love Alex. He's on all the time. I asked him, I said, well, how's it working with Jason? He said, he's fine. He says, he's not as much of a Trumper as you think. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Do you
I
think
don't
if
think
he was
Jason
appointed,
really
he
wants
would,
a job in the administration, but who knows, you know?
He just wanted one
He
on
could
Twitter.
start a part of the administration called This Week in Government or something. If he goes, right?
Jeff, if you got a call from the White House, would you, if they said, we have a position for you, wouldn't you have to say yes? Serve our country?
No. When I was at Time Inc., my editor, Pat Ryan, my mentor, tried to propose me for a White House fellowship.
And you said no.
It was an administration that I did not approve of, no.
Right. Let's talk about KOSA, which is now called KOSPA.
That's true.
Well, that changes everything.
You may
P stands for
remember
privacy.
You may remember that Linda Yaccarino, the CEO of X.com, said after working with Congress to improve protection for free speech in KOSA, I think this is a great thing and we should pass it. KOSA did pass, shockingly, passed the Senate 93-3? Like a ridiculous majority, but it still has to get through the House. And House leadership has, at this point, shown no interest in a term that is rapidly wrapping up in taking a look at the bill. Mike Masnick, writing in Tech Dirt, he says the main issue with the bill is the so-called duty of care section, which has vague terminology that will encourage companies to simply remove any controversial content rather than have to fight in court after the fact about whether the content was harmful to kids. On top of that, the bill heavily encourages companies to embrace problematic age verification tools that have already been shown to be a privacy disaster. Yachty notwithstanding, Paris, I think we're still a little suspicious of age verification.
Certainly.
He does say that the changes that Yaccarino is talking about are purely cosmetic rather than substantial. He says it adds a weird, reasonable, and prudent person standard, which wasn't in the earlier version of the bill, even though it did have exercise reasonable care. So in other words, it's hand waving. It's meaningless phrases that they've stuck in there. The real concern is that platforms are going to, just like those banks that are debanking people so they avoid trouble, that platforms are going to do the same thing. They're going to just remove all sorts of content that might otherwise lead to lengthy, draining, and resource-intensive legal fights, including all the negative headlines that you get with that. Mike says, that's why this is a censorship bill, pure and simple.
Mm-hmm.
They say it's not about censorship. No. In fact, they even have a section in it that says it doesn't violate the First Amendment. Honest. Mike writes, if your bill doesn't violate the First Amendment, you don't actually have to put into it, hey, don't violate the First Amendment with the bill. If anything, the new paragraph is an admission that, of course, the bill can and will be used to infringe First Amendment rights. So, fortunately, I don't think that it's going to happen just because there's only a couple of weeks left in the session.
Could come back.
They do come back.
I think it could happen next year. I mean, Marsha Blackburn today on Fox Business said that they have the votes for KOSA to pass in the House. It's just a matter of the leader and speaker actually putting it on the floor, which may
that's
not
the
happen
problem.
This session, but would happen next.
Maybe. Rand Paul, who I'm not normally a fan of, Rand Paul says KOSA poses such a dire threat to our First Amendment rights that House and Senate leadership must not agree to add at the last minute to larger pieces of legislation. That's what they often do. They put it in the defense spending bills.
But here's the next frontier. Hate watching Morning Joe, as I do now. This morning, that's that horrible story about the chat that told the kid to kill their parents. I want to see more about that. But anyway, so now they're railing against open source AI.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's not exactly that. They're railing against specifically companies like Character AI and entertainment or role play based chatbots.
Yeah, but we're going against the next step. Yes, you're right, Paris. But they went the next step then.
One of the things that Mike says will be ironic.
I'm sorry, Paris. I interrupted you.
One of the first companies that will be harmed by KOSPA is X. Yeah. So that'll be interesting. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll watch that with great interest. Get your popcorn, kids. What did you want to say? I'm sorry, Paris. Anything important? No. Okay.
Nothing important.
404 Media is in trouble. Now, we love 404 Media.
Yeah, we do.
We support Jason Keebler and the crew. And I think it's a shame that they are now being subpoenaed by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. And what does Ken Paxton want? He wants access to their reporting notes and sources on an unrelated case.
Yeah.
So 404 did a story about Google leaking thousands of privacy incidents. A Google leak reveals thousands of privacy incidents. That was a Joseph Cox story. Paxton is going after Google, saying that Google violated a Texas biometric privacy law. Nevertheless, that has not stopped him from subpoenaing 404. He says, Jason writes, Paxton's subpoena seeks to turn 404 Media into an arm of law enforcement. Now, 404 is in California, where there is shield law, right? I guess there are no shield laws for media.
Texas, no.
Yeah, I guess there are no shield laws in Texas. But I don't know which law holds. The lawyers say that not only is the subpoena oppressive, but the reporting is protected under the California shield law. So tell us about this as reporters, as journalists. Why is this a big deal?
I mean, it's a fundamental tenet of journalism that you protect your sources, and that you not capitulate when.
But don't you want to help solve crime?
It's not journalists' job to provide data directly to law enforcement or agents of the government, be it the U.S. government, European governments, or something else. Fundamentally, the agreement that reporters make with our sources is we line out how that information is going to be used and what we're going to do with it. And it would be a breach of that kind of contract between two people or multiple people to then hand that data over to the state. I mean, from a completely practical purpose, like if you're not even thinking about reaching the sort of underlying agreement there that is between reporter and source, you can't guarantee that let's say you hand over a bunch of documents and the state says, oh, we'll redact all the information that would potentially identify your source. You can't guarantee that the state is going to do that. There's frequently redaction errors, or there could have been something left out that people are able to piece together your source. Any bit of data that gets out there is another chance for your source to be identified by people they didn't want to be identified by.
The sad thing about this is 404 Media, I mean, I'm sure it's a shoestring operation. I pay for 404 because I want to support these guys. They came from, Jason comes from Motherboard. He's former editor at Motherboard.
They all came from Motherboard.
They all were former Motherboard. Okay. And they're just great reporters who decided, once Motherboard was gone, we are going to band together and create our own thing. And it's working. It's working, and I subscribe because I want to support Joseph and Jason and Emmanuel and Sam. And they're great reporters. They're great people. They deserve our support, and they've been on the shows. And so I just sent them an extra $100 to support this because this, and as they say, this is our biggest expense by far. Is protecting ourselves legally. And you can imagine hiring a lawyer to fight Ken Paxton is not going to be cheap.
Yeah. And I mean, they are all worker owners of this business. They've been part of this growing trend of small media cooperatives that prioritize giving the journalists a stake in the company. Yes. They all make way reduced, I'm sure, I don't know the financials, but I'm sure they make way reduced salaries based on what they were making at Motherboard, which was not that much to begin with, so that they can do journalism from their own hearts, basically, that they can decide what they want to publish. And they've made phenomenal decisions. And you've seen it borne out. And they, I believe, announced somewhat recently that they now have 1 million hits on their website a month, which is huge, like within their first year.
That's great.
This is
They've broken some big stories. They have broken some
independence.
And we need to support journalism. That's why I subscribe to the Information. That's why I subscribe to 404. I'd much rather spend my money with independents like that than the big, presses like the New York Times or the Washington Post, although I also do that just because I need access to that stuff, and Bloomberg. But boy, I think that's what we are, right? We're an independent, non-affiliated journalistic enterprise. Do you believe in Casey Newton's phony comforts of AI skepticism?
Set Paris on this one.
Jeff,
it's
you
fun.
describe the Casey Newton angle, and then I'll take the different ones that have come out against this.
It's like the Boston article. It's just it puts up a straw man of two extremes of views on it, and then tries to shoot them down. And the straw men are wrong. So, Paris, you want to describe the straw men?
So let me find it here. Casey Newton basically is saying there are two different camps here in AI. That there are the AI is fake and sucks camp, and the AI is real and dangerous camp. And then he makes the case as to why the first camp is totally immune to evidence and has their heads up their own butts, and the second camp is basically right, and that eventually, like AI is going to be real and dangerous, but it eventually is going to make such progress that those dangers are going to become way more important than it not working. And this led to a bunch of different pieces criticizing his piece, and then Casey criticizing those criticisms, and
which is exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's a good way. And by the way, I subscribe to the Platformer too, because I that was the place to.
I think Casey's great.
Yeah, Dave Karpf responding.
He had, I thought, a really good piece on this.
It's very, I think it's very simplifying things to say there's these 2 points of view.
Yeah.
I'm not on either camp. I am a little nervous about AI.
The camps are properly described. What Paris said to me before we got on the air is there's a lot of middle grounds between these supposed camps. Between, hey, I won't do anything.
No, I'm in a middle ground.
Some stuff well and other things not.
I don't think
Karp writes there's a substantial difference between it's all fake and sucks and this cannot actually replace your radiologist, your lawyer, or the entire EPA. And I think that's really reasonable. Is the people who are saying that Casey is reducing to this is all fake and sucks are saying, hey, a lot of the things that these companies are promising this is going to do imminently or already can do, it can't. And that's a real problem and something that we should address.
Yeah, it's much more nuanced than either of those positions, obviously. And I am a little nervous about AI, especially as we start seeing more. And this is why I put the Morozov article in there. Is it's especially now being used for military purposes.
Yeah,
and that's
Karp
concerning.
That because Palmer Luckey wants to put AI in charge of basically murder drones, he says, we really need tech journalists to ask hard questions about whether his product actually works. Because faulty murder drones deployed at the border by a government that is largely indifferent to excess casualties and a company that certainly won't be able to share that data could be a disaster.
Yeah.
He basically just says that it's too dismissive to label this entire branch of skepticism as like it's all fake and sucks because lots of money is being spent here.
And the other problem is that it misses the argument I have all the time is that the conflation of safety in legitimate present tense concerns and doomerism and X risk, which is BS, alongside AGI. And so the nomenclature of this discussion is all screwed up, and you've got to define your terms going in carefully. Otherwise, you're falling into traps.
I read an article, and I'm trying to find it, but I read an article this morning by a coder who said, when all coders, when they're writing code, should consider some of the uses of this code and take responsibility for it instead of just saying, oh, this is an interesting problem, let me solve it. Because very often it is going to be weaponized and used against people, sometimes even in a military context. He went out of school as an intern, a project he found really interesting, solving for how to do location finding using Wi-Fi signal strength. But the guy running, the DoD contractor running the project that he was writing for, kept coming in and saying, but can you use it to locate phones? And they said, well, not yet. No, well, that's something we're not really And he kept asking that question. And finally, the guy who wrote the article, I wish I could find it here, I'm going to keep looking for it, said, oh, the whole purpose of this is to be able to locate phones by their Wi-Fi signal so that they can kill the person who has the phone. So they can target them. And he said, this is the problem, is that we as coders, we get excited about things. It's an interesting problem, but we often don't think hard enough about what the ultimate use of this would be. And he says, this is the thing. You as a coder, you have superpowers. You're able to get a computer to do something interesting. You really you have a higher responsibility to consider what you're teaching it to do before you do it.
I feel like the crux of Casey's argument, all of the backlash, can be summarized, and I feel like we even talked about this a little bit earlier on in the show. It's who should we be giving the benefit of the doubt to? Skeptics, AI skeptics that are perhaps underestimating what the technology should do, or AI hypers who are overestimating what the tech can do and when it can do it. Yeah. And I think that the answer is very nuanced. Like, I think that when we're talking about companies that have raised billions of dollars, I think it's way more reasonable to give credence to the skeptics versus those billion-dollar companies' marketing machines. Mm-hmm. It's all about power. If this was, some kid who's developed a cool AI system and is like, actually, I've done a lot with this, and I think that in a year we can do even more, and it'll be incredible. Okay, go off. That's great. But when it is someone incredibly powerful making these potentially hyperbolic statements, it deserves more criticism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and he even has the famous quote from Jurassic Park, Jeff Goldblum saying the problem was scientists didn't ask. They were so excited about what they could do, they didn't ask whether they should do it. Yeah. And I think with AI, this is something that is going on. I mean, we've said this from the very beginning, that this is an Oppenheimer moment. That the people who are creating this, I think, have a really higher responsibility to make sure it's not going to be used against humans.
Yes, but I will come up with my argument I do all the time is, I think you're fooling yourself to think that can be done.
Yeah, it may not.
The quest for the guardrails is futile.
Well, and
so we got to realize,
and even if we as in the United States as responsible coders do it, there are coders in Russia and China and all over the world who will not ask that question, who will do it.
Somebody can create a model thinking they've thought of everything, and then somebody comes along and says, I thought of a new way to destroy mankind. Tell me how to do it, and it will.
By the way, I think that's the conversation Palmer Luckey had with himself, which is, because Palmer Luckey, of course, created Anduril, but before that, he was the Oculus Rift guy, made billions of dollars when he sold it to Meta. And has since worked on AI in for military purposes. In fact, Anduril, I think, was used to close the border, right, or to track people coming across the border. I think in his head, he said, well, yeah, this could be used in a bad way. This could be malicious, but I would rather develop this for the United States as a defense project, given that other countries are going to be doing this. We can't just lie down and say, okay, fine, let them, we'll be ethical. We won't develop something dangerous. We need it for defense because they're gonna. Right?
Which is a nice rationalization, you could say.
Well, it's a rationalization, but it's also somewhat pragmatic, right? We know that there are plenty of nations and very good coders in those nations who probably would like to make autonomous weaponry.
And so it's fine. Put it in Pete Hegseth's hands. Yeah. Not that I'm being political.
Should we be? I mean, should we be? Okay, it doesn't seem risky to say, okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to be, we're going down with the ship, but at least we'll be ethically clean.
Well, there's defensive and offensive uses and ways to look at this.
Yeah, but I think offense and defense are kind of indistinguishable when let's say the Chinese come up with robots. This is completely hypothetical. Robot soldiers that can, one of the things that protects the United States is we're pretty hard to invade. It's a big, big country, and a lot of
if only Canada would.
But let's say the Chinese create 100 million robot soldiers that can invade us. But we were clean. We wouldn't want to ever do a robot soldier. So we have no defense.
I think you could do research on how to destroy robot soldiers. You have to have robots to destroy the robot soldiers.
That's a good start. By the way, this is why we have mutually assured destruction. This is why nations with atomic weapons make sure that they can destroy the other country if it tries to attack them, because that's what's keeping us safe. We are walking on a razor's edge. Let's just face it. And the AI company that made robots as comforts for children went bust. And now the robots, Moxie, they're dying.
Hey, kid, your friend is dead.
I have to think that there are very few people who bought these robots for their kids.
Yeah, I think so.
And they probably, I don't know, maybe you should have the robot go away. So $800. The company that made them, the Moxie robot, was called Embodied. They announced this week that they didn't get their funding round and they're shutting down. So when they shut down, so will Moxie. Now, I have a robot that's shut down. I mean, of course, I didn't give it to my kids. Do you want to see Moxie at work? Last chance. Oh, Moxie's waving her arms. Oh, Moxie made a doo-doo on the kitchen table. Oh, no, that's not Moxie. I don't know. Get your kids a dog, okay? Or a bodega cat. Don't get them a robot. Although it's a teaching moment. So we sent the robot to a farm. He's living a happy life. The robot farm. Did your parents ever do that to you with a pet?
Yep.
When I was a child, my first ever pet was a beta fish. And one day I came home and it was dead. And my mother was like, oh, your friend came over and overfed it and it died. And then we ended up getting a new fish. But I only realized within the last 5 or 6 years, I was like, Mom, what the hell was that explanation? Of course a friend didn't come over when I was at school. And she's like, oh yeah, no, I overfed it. I don't know why I said that.
It wasn't me. I didn't do it. That's really funny.
Did you guys ever have to explain death via fish to your children?
Worse.
I've heard that's a common first experience with death is fish for kids.
I didn't realize that beta fish are sometimes called fighting fish.
Oh, yeah, they will attack.
And you don't want to put two beta fish in the same tank.
You'd think they'd be called alpha fish then.
They will kill each other. And we had quite a apocalypse.
Oh, no.
On the betas.
One.
But I told Henry that a friend came over and and started betting money on beta fish fighting. And, well, you know what happens.
How many did you have?
I had a lot. I don't know why I was so stupid. I went out, I got the tank, I got the whole thing. You know what? The pet store should have said, oh, don't put these all in the same tank.
Well, because then you came back and bought more fish.
More fish, yeah.
I did, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't learn my lesson. So do not combine male beta fish, or actually male and female beta fish. Don't put them in the same. The only people who can get together in the beta fish world are two female beta fishes. But how do you know?
As normal, right? Isn't that the way of the world?
Yeah. But
guys are such jerks.
Yeah. You can't have a male and a female, and you can't have a male and a male. Yeah, it's the guy. It's the problem, isn't it? The male.
Always.
Yeah. The court has decided to tell Matt Mullenweg, you cannot cut off WP Engine.
So now they have to roll it back, which is crazy.
That was a shocker. I'm not sure. I don't know. Mullenweg said he had the right to disable WP Engine's account access and make changes to the plugin for the sake of public safety.
Oops, public safety again.
Public safety. However, WP Engine's executives said that the vulnerability was minor and was fixed.
The judge found merit in WP Engine's claims that Automatic's actions harmed business relationships, saying Mullenweg's conduct is designed to induce breach or disruption.
Wow. So he ordered him, put it back. Mm-hmm. Put it back. That wasn't the right thing to do. Bad Matt. All right, let's break, and we will have our bits, our final bits and kibbles and bits at the end. The good stuff, the picks of the week, coming up. You're watching This Week in Google with Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis, and this is the part of the show where I beg you for money. Because money's a little tight around here.
But if you've already given it, you won't hear this. And think how nice that'll be.
Right. Only if you're watching live, because we haven't figured out how to bleep ads on the live stream.
If you're watching live, this is what you're here for, is to hear the behind the scenes.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
This is the part you won't see.
This is to feel superior to all those people who aren't giving.
You get ad-free versions of all of our shows when you pay us a mere $7 a month. So a little behind the scenes. Lisa and I are having discussions. She said, I don't know what we're going to do. We don't have any money. I said, well, we could raise the price of the club. We both thought about that and we went, nah. We want to make it affordable, $7 a month. It's not even a paywall. You still get all our content, except for like kind of the special stuff. And you can even watch that live. What we really want... Huh?
It's like The Guardian, where you want to reward it, and you want people to be able to watch it.
Yeah, I don't want to. I really don't want to paywall. I just want to be able to keep doing what we're doing. But currently, advertisers are so scared. Even ones that have been with us literally for 7 years are not returning our calls, and I just think that everybody's a little nervous about what's going to happen in the world. Anyway, for whatever reason, I did see a stat that 50% of all the ad dollars in podcasting go to 10 shows, the top 10 shows. Half of all the money is going to the top 10 shows, and the rest of us are splitting historically we've done very well, but it's just not going to continue to work without the help of our audience. That's all I'm saying. And you can do it by just joining the club for $7 a month. You get ad-free versions of all the shows. You get special programming. Tomorrow, we're going to do Chris Marquardt's photo section. That's something we brought back because the club wanted it. We do a lot of club content, but we won't be able to do it much longer without your help. twit.tv/clubtwit. I don't know. I don't want to beg. But I also don't want you, to say, hey, you should have told us you needed the money. We need the money. I told you. And it doesn't go to me, by the way. It doesn't go to my pocket. I'm not getting paid. It goes to keep people like Paris and Jeff compensated. You get a minor stipend, but we need, that's where the money goes. It goes to people like John Ashley and Kevin King, and Benito's coming back. He just got back into town. It goes to our staff. Anthony Nielsen does such a great job. Please, if you have it, we would love it if you would participate. Join the club. You can be in the Discord. You can hang out with us. twit.tv/clubtwit. Enough said. I don't want to belabor it. Pays for Patrick Delahanty's son's Cub Scouts uniform. Just think of that. Poor Caden could go to Cub Scouts with no uniform, and he would be so embarrassed. Just think about that.
Oops.
Terrible.
I was going to brag that I'm in Club Twit, but I just found out that I didn't change my credit card, so now I have to do it again.
Oh, you don't have to pay for it.
No, I do it.
Our hosts are in there. Our hosts are in there.
No, I do it happily. A mere $7 a month.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
Okay, now I've got the right credit card. Okay, now I'm back.
We were thinking $10, and I thought, I don't want people to not be able to afford it. And if you go to a Starbucks and you get a Frappuccino, it's going to cost you $7. Don't you think this is worth it, at least giving up one Frappuccino a month?
And no calories. That? It's calorie free.
Calories.
Twit is calorie free.
No content, but no calories either. So there you go. We're just passing the hat. Paris Martineau, what do you have for us for a pick this week?
I was pulling up some data from SimilarWeb for a different story, and I realized that they're tracking daily active users on Bluesky versus Threads. So I put together a little chart, and I don't know, I just found it very interesting that over the last 2 weeks, Bluesky and Threads have been neck and neck, basically, when it comes to daily active users.
That's actually impressive because Threads has,
albeit there are a couple
Instagram
caveats.
behind it.
This is the web version of it, so a bit different the app data is coming a bit later because they don't currently have worldwide data for iOS devices. But this is worldwide. I think it's quite interesting. My more in-depth pick of the week is more of a plea of the week. The skee ball team has decided to do a white elephant party in a week or two.
I love
white elephant, you know,
parties.
where everybody brings a silly gift of some sort. You all have to open it. You try to steal each other's gifts. What should I bring? It's got to be an interesting gag gift. I was thinking of maybe bringing a yard of beef. Have you heard of these?
Is it 3 feet?
Search Hillshire Farm yard of beef.
Yard O.
You could just
It's a yard
say
beef.
yard O beef. It will come up.
Oh my God!
I got this once at a.
It's a 3 foot long summer sausage.
Oh,
It's kind of ridiculous.
That's for
and I love that.
for Hank. Hank would love that.
Oh no, these are not good.
No, they're definitely not good.
Oh, they're
but it's
disgusting.
very funny. That's the thing is, it can't. I mean, maybe it could be desirable,
I think
but
you gotta
ideally,
give some
I just
Hawk
want.
Tuah coin.
Oh no, I can't. I can't purchase Hawk Tuah coin, but that would be. That's the right spirit of the gift.
Right.
People of Twit, if you can think of something incredibly silly that would be worthwhile,
I think
for
the
me to
yard
give,
of beef is pretty darn
Yard
good.
of beef right now is the current winner.
What you want is, so the whole idea is you wrap it up, right? And then you draw numbers. And then the first person goes and picks it from the pile and opens it. And then ensues
every time, yeah.
Free for all.
Then the
where
next
people can
person will
take it.
go. You can steal someone else's gift, or you pick a new one. You want to have something that's kind of silly but maybe desirable, or something that people could get stuck with. I don't know. Yard of beef seems pretty good. It's either, I don't know why my two
Jammer
picks are
B
meat
says
themed.
it's hard to wrap a yard of beef, but I think you're wrong, Jammer B. I think a yard long sausage,
a box, like a big rectangular
that
box,
would
and
be.
it's heavy
I would
too.
go right to it.
Yeah,
And
because
then
you're
I
like,
would go,
what is
"Oh,
this strange
God, why did I
yard of beef?
Yard of beef.
It's either that or a rotisserie chicken is my two thoughts. I don't know why they're both meat.
How about a
themed.
bodega cat?
I mean, yeah, but that's the thing is some of my friends have too many cats.
We
I
actually
can't
went to
be
a white
queen for another
elephant where
cat.
somebody had a animal, maybe it was
wow.
a fish or a lizard or something.
Jeez.
And we said, no, that's not okay.
You can't do that.
No. But it is fun. I always, all year long, I think about, but nobody ever invites me to one of these. I think about, I don't want that. I'm going to give that away as a, I always never get
I mean,
to give
you'd be
any
a
of it
good
away.
person for this because you have a bunch of stuff to give away.
I have a bunch of crap. Absolutely. How about, you know what? I think this would be a good gift. Give somebody a scary Buddha.
Scary Buddha could be good.
Scary Buddha. Yeah, that's good.
I like Scary Buddha.
He's supposed to be cheerful, but it depends on the angle of the light.
Oh, yeah, no. He's goes from intimidating to haunting.
I have him here to inspire me because I too go from intimidating to haunting. I would stick with the yard of beef. I think
yard of beef is the current winner.
Yeah.
I think.
Now, weirdly, I also get, when I do a search for that, beef cattle yards. So be careful what you give.
Listen, I'm going to get the OG. We know.
Yeah.
There is a part of
gotta
me
get
that
the
I think you
Hillshire
can get
Farms.
like you can get an entire lamb of some sort from Costco.
Yeah.
That could be fun, but that would be hard to carry.
Yeah, we had so much good stuff, but we gave it all away when we closed the studio. That was full of white elephant gifts.
Oh, yeah. God, yeah.
Well, those are all good gift ideas. It's got to be bad.
If it weren't the holiday season, I'd give you my bottle brush Christmas trees, but I can't afford to give those up. How about that telephone? That'd be good.
I mean, listen, you're all once again giving actually good gift ideas.
That's too good.
Wrong thing.
Yeah,
No.
wrong
It's
answer.
got to be kind of a burden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is one of our listeners who's a wonderful guy. We call him Mick the Wick. He's from Athens, Ohio. He sends me every year about 40 pounds of cheese. and actually, there's usually a summer sausage in there from Ohio. But one year he sent it to the post office box, not knowing that I don't check the post office box all that often.
So you had a bunch of moldy cheese?
3 months later, I go and I get the cheese. Yeah. Jeff Jarvis, pick of the week.
So, you keep hearing how AI is going to take over the world. AGI is coming. It's going to be smarter than us. It's going to destroy everything. And you keep hearing how the ad business is surveillance capitalism. And you add these two things together, and it's late-stage capitalism. It's going to destroy the earth, and it's awful. But advertising is so damn stupid. So if you go to line 182, you'll see what the Washington Post was advertising me. And I had no idea what it is. Now, since then, I have asked, but why was it advertising this to me?
Why did the Washington Post think you wanted whatever the hell that is? By the way, it's 68% off.
Well, then in that case, so people responded and told me what it was.
Well, it says it's a something light, a flux light.
It's an optical fiber connector. They go to network switches, routers, etc. Anything to terminate fiber optical cable. Why is advertising on the Washington Post advertising that? Hey. And then the next thing.
And you don't, by the way, you don't do those things that many of our audience members do to kind of distract advertisers. You don't turn off tracking. You turn it on. You want it. I want to be tracked.
I take cookies. I take ads. I don't click on.
Give me an advert.
Right.
Here's another
the
one.
Next thing.
Find the right model for you.
Advertising is stupid. And AI is stupid. And it's not taking over the world.
I had this exact same experience this week where on Instagram, I got a sponsored ad for a roll of like labeled stickers that just say shrimp. And then I went through the carousel and they were also stickers that said a hot dog. One that says warning.
That's your gift for the white elephant.
Oh my God, you're so right.
We've solved the world's problems.
Yes,
that's
a roll of stickers to say shrimp. That is such a non sequitur. I love it.
That's really good, actually. You're right.
Now you got to go find it again.
I mean, I posted it on Bluesky, so yes, I will be buying it. It's from In Stock Labels, and dang it, they were right.
What are some of the other labels that you can get there, Paris?
So, hot dog. You can get one that says, warning, this product has not been pasteurized and therefore may contain harmful bacteria and can cause serious illness in children, the elderly, and persons.
Well, you give that to Robert Kennedy.
That's too valuable. You put that on everything in your refrigerator and nobody'd use your food.
Soon when raw milk comes into the grocery stores, you put it on that.
That's true.
That's right.
One that says Italian. Another that says fully cooked. I do think I need all of them is the thing.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh,
that is marvelous.
Paris, how could you not have seen? It was
I can't believe I didn't see it, but you're so right.
And so the advertising was brilliant. Absolutely
it really was.
Brilliant.
Somebody put this in here, the Elon stickers from the New York Times.
I just put it in, yeah.
Yeah. These are stickers that people who drive Teslas put on their car. I bought this before Elon went crazy. Anti-Elon Tesla Club. Shut up, Elon. It would be embarrassing for people of a certain political stripe to be driving a Tesla right now. I'm glad I don't. There's some good stickers too, but those are too good. I don't think they fit the white elephant.
God,
no. Oh, no.
I'm buying this.
Shrimp? Are you buying hot
sticker
dog?
is $9. Hot dog.
How many stickers do you get for $9 though? It's got to be a ton of them.
500.
That's the beauty of it.
Do you get points for actually giving a gift that nobody takes, nobody wants? No, you want something that people will go
what's the winner?
I do think that if I'm going to include in this Italian and fully cooked, and people will fight over that because
Can you do a video of your white elephant party? I think that'd be really great.
Yeah, I'll see what we can do.
I would really like that.
At least who ends up with the shrimp stickers?
I will take a photo of someone with a shrimp sticker on their forehead for
Yes, I think so.
for sure.
Little programming note. We will be here next week. That'll be the last show of the year for the three of us. Following week, of course, is Christmas Day. We do have a best of that our talented team has been working on practically all year.
Thank you guys for doing
Fun note, that will be episode 800.
The best of Twig, episode 800.
And is the next week the worst of?
Next week is New Year's Day,
our norm.
and you have the day off to recover from your hangover.
Nice.
So this is $7.98.
2 weeks without, yeah.
We'll be here for $7.99, and then we get the rest of the year off. And we will be back, I guess that means January 6th. A day that will live in infamy.
January 8th. Close
8th.
enough.
Oh, thank God.
But is it? Oh, anyway.
Is that right? Wednesday? Yeah, January 8th. You're right. Oh, so we're not here New Year's Day. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, we're
Christmas
closed
Day.
New Year's Day, but we are back live the following day.
The following week.
The following day, yeah.
Jeff Jarvis is the former professor emeritus.
No, I'm still emeritus.
He's always
professor,
emeritus.
But now I'm emeritus.
Former professor, now emeritus.
Latin
journalist,
for old folks.
Professor of journalistic innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of Newark.
John.
At the Craig.
John, you're sleeping.
Craig.
No, I'm purposely not doing it just to spite Jeff.
Spite? What?
No, because this
What
is.
did I do?
No, because Benita is coming back and I won't be here.
Aw.
You know,
I know.
I had to
We
do that.
love working with you.
All right, hold on one second.
Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of Newark. Now at Montclair State University and at the SUNY Stony Brook campus, where he is still going to be teaching journalism to some very lucky people. Are undergraduates or graduates?
Don't know yet.
Oh, you don't even know.
I wrote a syllabus for an undergrad course.
Nice.
In art and in AI and creativity.
I love that. Oh, that should get a lot of attention. Do they like test your proposals to see if there's interest?
No, they go through the curriculum committee, and then they go up. And if not enough students sign up, it gets killed from the catalog.
Ah, so you do have to get a certain number of signups.
Yeah.
You will. In fact, if you're lucky enough to be at Montclair or SUNY, you ought to go right over there and sign up. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. Don't forget Jeff's book, The Web We Weave, available bookstores now. And, of course, the Gutenberg Parenthesis magazine.
Now in paperback.
Now in paperback, the Gutenberg Parenthesis, which makes it a little easier to carry around in your pocket. Thank you, Jeff. Paris Martineau writes for The Information. She covers youth issues, but I think you cover whatever, right? Because the Yachty thing was
whatever.
Yeah.
She has a
I mean,
nose
that
for
was
news.
in some way connected to child safety because
I guess you're right.
One of
Yeah.
the tech companies. But yeah,
The shrimp
I'm
labels
currently the shrimp labels are connected to everything. I'm currently looking at a label that says beef. That could be kind
Beef
of
is
fun.
good. Beef's going to
Beef
go
is
well.
good.
Italian
good ones?
beef
Any other
and
good
fully
ones?
cooked.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
That's nice.
What's the name of this place?
InStockLabels.com.
Oh, okay. So because Patrick found something at brenmarco.com, which is a label that says "great for soup."
Oh, that's actually huge. That will kill. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta get in. Great for soup.
Apparently, there's a whole lot of these.
Paris. Did you shop? Did you go to the warehouse labels? There's void if broken, biohazard,
Oh man.
Irradiated is one that's really good. Also.
danger, poison. Stop.
But
Read directions
you're not
carefully.
going to beat the Bryn Mawr price of $4.30 for 1,000 great for soup stickers.
Hold on.
Oh my God.
How about the one I just linked you, Paris?
Oh no!
Well, let me see.
It's sticker mania. Exempt animal specimen.
Takeout. I like that one.
This is
sealed
so much.
for safety. Oh boy, this is great.
They have a whole section on medical shipping, healthcare labels, everyday use labels, food
This is
labels,
InStockLabels.com.
everything.
Oh, this is a
possible.
beautiful
Wow.
thing.
You know, let's not promote this too big. We don't want Paris to be scooped. You could
Don't-
just
if
give
you're-
Everybody came with
a
this.
use by sticker would be good.
That is pretty good.
You get
there's
it's
so
tough.
many.
It's tough.
Oh, it's too good.
So many.
But the shrimp or the entry. I think the shrimp speak
Shrimp
loudly.
is good. Italian,
Shrimp is simple,
fantastic.
straightforward. It says
I
it
might be
all.
making two purchases from two different stores because I need great for soup, but I also need shrimp and Italian. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, I am hoping you get the stickers of your choice for this holiday season. And share it with a friend. We do this show every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. We stream live. That's why I tell you the live times. So you can't actually watch us do this live. If you're in the club, of course, you can watch on Discord. But there's also YouTube, Twitch, Kick, X, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. I think that's it. I think that's all of them. Anyway, that's where we're streaming. You can watch us live. There are a goodly number of people doing that right now, about 590. Thank you. Of course, the majority of people watch after the fact because it's a podcast. You can get your copy of the show at the website, twit.tv/TWIG. When you go there, you'll see a link to the YouTube channel where you can find the video. That's actually a good place to share video from. Do a little clip, send along to your friends and family. Say, you won't believe what these people are up to. And, of course, you could subscribe in your favorite podcast player. That's the way I think you should do it. That way you get it automatically. The minute it's available. Links all at the website, twit.tv/twig. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks. A special thanks to our Club Twit members who paid the bills for this show today. Thank you, Club Twit.
Thank you, people. Thank you.
And we will see you next week for episode 799 of This Week in Google. Bye-bye.